All right, so we are going to start modern India today, and see what I'm gonna do is today I will give you a complete journey of modern India, right? We will bring Europeans to India and we will make India free. All those from 1600s to 1947, 350 साल 350 odd years ये पढ़ते हैं आज story shape में. Then from tomorrow we will pick up one topic each and then we will complete it. But why today's story is important for all of us? Because if you listen to today's story, at least you will recall many of those events that you have done once in your school. This is one thing. Secondly, at least when from tomorrow I will start in detail, you already would be knowing little bit of the sequence. Today we are not to write anything, we will listen to it. I have made a slide for you with all the maps, nothing else, right? But these maps are very important, so then I will share it in your WhatsApp groups for the students who have already registered, and keep these maps handy with you, because when we will be doing our regular class from tomorrow, so you will get one map each day, for you will take its printout and you will attach it with the subsequent chapters, so that if there is any question which is map based, you have no problem at all to understand it, right? So in case now you want to ask anything before I start regarding this modern India, feel free, and if you have nothing to ask, then let me know and I should start my lecture. So if you have anything to ask, any doubts that you already carry about modern India from your school or from anything that you have been doing earlier, कुछ पढ़ा है, कुछ सोचा है, कुछ सुना है, कुछ पूछना है, या मैं सीधा टॉपिक स्टार्ट करूँ आज की इंट्रोडक्शन. All right. So now for next, everybody will get it, don't worry. So now for next 15-20 minutes, nobody will interrupt. It is not for me, it is for you, so that there is kind of a continuity and you start understanding the storyline. I will not forget, but then you will perhaps miss on some interlinking. So allow me a little bit of explanation. After every 15-20 minutes, I will give you a window where you can ask your doubts, be it offline or online, any students on Zoom or on YouTube, wherever you want to ask. So first of all, let's start understanding one thing which is very important about history as a subject is to understand that history is not compartmentalized, and we must not compartmentalize history, right? I cannot say that there was once ancient India and this is a specific date for ancient India, whereafter ancient India ended and all of a sudden medieval India started, and then medievals ended and the modern started. If I try to understand history like this, then I will never be able to understand history, right? So if I want to understand history, it must not be seen as three separate boxes which are not connected. In fact, history is something which is always overlapping. Now, what has happened in case of Indian history and the idea that it can be compartmentalized? You know, there was a person called James Mill. He's a great political philosopher, historian, economist, and everything. Now, this gentleman, while he was working with East India Company in England, he wrote History of India. And his way of expressing history in three different ways or three different periods in history of India, it was to serve the purpose of British East India Company as well. किशोर, अगर आराम से सुनोगे भाई तो याद भी कर लोगे, ठीक है? तो रिलैक्स करो, टेक्स्ट नहीं करेगा कोई अभी थोड़ी देर के लिए. Let me disable the chat so that you guys can focus and understand first. And in case you have any doubt, I will give you window at regular intervals where you can ask your doubts. So James Mill, while trying to interpret Indian history, for the first time said there is ancient India when the Hindus were ruling here, right? If I go back into ancient India up to the time of Harshvardhan, I have ancient India, and that is Hindu empires. Then he said there was medieval India when the Muslims rule India, and then started the modern India when the British Empire is established. You know how many purposes it served for them? Number one, he emphasized on the fact that the very idea of modernity comes with the advent of British, right? You were backward, you were uncivilized, and the God then selected the whites, the Europeans, who are superior as a civilization to come and rule over you so that we can modernize you. So this is one justification. This justification is called white man's burden. That means the white man has been given this burden by the God. It is called divine providence. You were so backward, you were so uncivilized that God then decided, okay, let us bring the whites into this part of the world and they will come and give the new ideas to Indians. And then perhaps you will become modernized. While telling that we are going to modernize you, they had to prove another point, that before you turn modern, before you become aware, there must be something called the dark ages here in the subcontinent. So dark ages always suit the time immediately before the modernization starts. So they said when the Muslims rule India, it was the dark ages, because Muslims were conservative, they were backward, they were not open to modern education, they had all the backward looking ideas. So in India, there was no knowledge, there was complete stagnation. And then while exploring India, what they realized, now you have to be very careful about these ideas. In case you have a doubt, while I am explaining, genuinely feel free, you can ask any question. Online students, you can also ask any question if you feel anything that bothers your mind, but make sure that the question remains relevant. So see, what exactly is happening now? The British, when they came to India, we have to understand it through world history as well. So British will come to India. Let me change the color so that it is easily visible to everyone. When the British are coming to India, it is 1600 when that East India Company was formed, right? Now, this is the time when the British are coming to India. Europe is already witnessing something called Renaissance, right? Renaissance means rebirth. And this rebirth is the time when Europe started thinking on the basis of scienticism, right? On the basis of science, logic. They were becoming scientific in outlook. Before this Renaissance, even Europe was very, very superstitious and backward. But now all of a sudden they have started changing themselves. This Renaissance will be followed by Reformation. And this Reformation again is the time of 1640s and 50s ka time, right? So Europe is transforming religiously as well. They are becoming more knowledgeable and they are expanding their horizons. This will be followed in Europe by Enlightenment. And this Enlightenment happens during 1670s and 80s. Fine. Now Europe is moving in the direction where they understand the idea of liberalism and they understand the ideas of democracy. They understand the ideas of rights and they understand the ideas of justice. So these are some new things which Europe is already experiencing. Because Europe is experiencing all these new things, now Europe is trying to impress upon the other continents that we are superior. And while they have already come to trade to India, we have to understand that at that point of time when they are coming, they are not very superior though. They will be growing in knowledge, but not when they came. Gradually they will grow in knowledge. But what they will try to do? Initially they have come only for trade. And when they came for trade, this is 1600, right? When the British are coming. And in India, Akbar the Great is the ruler. And Akbar is a very strong, very powerful ruler. And Mughal Empire is tremendously powerful. They have strong army and everything. Now that the Mughals are so strong and the British, very few businessmen, merchant traders, they have come to India to trade. How can they guide the policies in India? When they will come, they have to seek permission even to meet Akbar. And it is the free will of Akbar whether he would like to meet them or not. Akbar की मर्जी है, अकबर बोल देगा नहीं मिलना जहाँ बनाने भाग दो यहाँ से. I don't feel like meeting the Brits. And then it is no obligation for Akbar to learn their language. Why should Akbar learn English? Akbar तो वैसे ही illiterate है. Now this is the obligation or responsibility of the British to learn our language. So that when they come and meet Akbar, इनको मैनरिज्म पता हो कि मुगल दरबार के मैनर्स क्या हैं. That you have to come and do sijda to the Raja, right? झुक के सलाम करना पड़ेगा. You cannot come and say, hi buddy, what's up? ना अकबर ने गोली मार देनी थी. इनको आगे बोलना पड़ेगा जिल्ले इलाही तोहफा कबूल हो. You have to please Akbar. You have to bring gift for Akbar. और फिर then Akbar's wish whether he want to give you permission or not, right? Now that you have to understand India and Indians and their rulers and their customs and their traditions, you have to learn our languages. Now, it is never difficult to learn somebody's language because there are always genius people in every civilization. Forget about British who came in 1600. Let's go back to the times of Alexander, who came in 326 BC. If Alexander came at that time, even he had a word with Porus. So there would be somebody who could translate the things. So there are always people who are very, gregarious, who are very outward, like let's learn new things, right? Even today, everyone in Punjab perhaps or across India will not be knowing French for that case. But there are many who know French. Fine. So there are people who learn different languages. So never think like how could people at that time know these languages. So in every age, at every place, there would at least be one person who will learn somebody's language. And let's take an example. I am the only person in Punjab at one point of time when the freedom struggle is going to start. I'm the only person in Punjab who knows little bit of English. Then I can come and talk to all the Punjabis in your vernacular now. I can explain you in English. And then if I am the only Punjabi who speaks English, then there can be one person in Maharashtra who can speak English. There can be one person in Madras who can speak English. And there can be one person in Bengal who can speak English. Then in their local areas, they can make everybody understand in the local language. And then when we meet, four of us, a Punjabi, a Gujarati, or a Marathi, and a Bengali, and someone from South, and four of us knows little bit of English, how difficult it is to make somebody understand. I would have to say only few words like this. White man, come, my money go. You are safe? No, gone. डी भी गई. हाँ रब्बा, सबको समझ आ गया. Now we'll come back and tell, ओ भाई बंगाली भी दुखी, मद्रासी भी दुखी, सारे दुखी, चक अंग्रेज. Then you can interact with your people in your language. So one person knowing some language is always a feasibility and possibility and is always the convenience for the things. Now that they have come, they started talking to Akbar. Now let's try understand the British pain before we go further. We have come to India. We are a private company. We have no state backing as such. If Queen of England said, I give monopoly to East India Company, it means nobody else from England can come to India. That's it, na? How can the Queen of England give them monopoly in context of India where Akbar the Great is ruling as a powerful emperor? Can she say nobody else will go to India from any other country? So when the British will come, the Dutch will come, the Danes will come, the Portuguese were already there, the French will come, the Austrians will come. There will be intense competition. Now, because there is intense competition, right? Let's try understand two things out of this intense competition. Europe will see industrial revolution which will start from England and it will start in 1760s. That means when they are coming for trade, there is no industrial revolution in Europe. So they are not the manufacturers who are coming to sell things. They are the buyers of things. India is producing stuff. Europe is coming here to buy. And what machines India have? No machines, it is handicrafts, right? So हाथ की कला से काम चल रहा है ना इंडिया में. Larger population, more resources and hardworking people. You are producing so many things in India. The best thing being the textile of India, the cotton textile, right? And then the spices in South. Though spices more importantly are available in Indonesian region, Java, Sumatra, right? So these Europeans are coming to this side for trade. Now, why they call it East India Company? Let's understand that as well. If I say this is Europe on one side, जाओ घर, सो जाओ, क्या हुआ? पढ़ रहे थे, आज पेपर था, कॉफी पियोगे? स्ट्रॉन्ग एस्प्रेसो शॉट मंगवा दूं एक. This is Europe. It is on the edge of map. उसके आगे इधर ओशन अटलांटिक एंड देन वी हैव अमेरिका वाली साइड. ठीक है, तो हम यूरोप से स्टार्ट करते हैं. रिमेंबर दिस इज ग्लोब, दिस इज नॉट अ फ्लैट मैप. सो यूरोप विल बी डिवाइडेड इनटू थ्री पार्ट्स. दिस इज वेस्टर्न यूरोप, countries like Spain, Portugal, Britain, France. This is Western Europe. Then we have Central Europe, Germany, Italy, right? Then we have Eastern Europe, countries like Poland and Czechoslovakia, countries like Romania, Bulgaria, Greece. These are Eastern Europe. Now, if I am moving towards this side, I am moving in the east now. Then from Western Europe to Central Europe to Eastern Europe, I come to Near East. Countries in Near East are Lebanon, Syria, Jordan. These are Near East countries. They call it Near East. Then we have Middle East, all the oil producing nations, Saudi, Iran, Iraq, that is Middle East. Then they say we come to Southeast Asia. This is your Indian subcontinent, right? Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Burma, Nepal. This is your Southeast Asia. And then they say we come to Far East, China, Japan. This is Far East. So the Europeans have to come and trade in this area. So East, Indies, these areas are called Indies, East India Company. It is not specific for India. It is for Indonesia, China, Japan, with everyone they want to trade. They are moving towards eastern side, towards the Indian region. So they call it East India Company, right? So now you are coming to do some trade with India. You do not have anything that you produce. You come and buy things from us. And we are talking about 1600s. There is no international currency system that you have dollars or sterlings to exchange. So how will you buy things from India? If you bring your money, we are not going to accept that money, because my king gives me gold coins or silver coins. If in England they use some other coin, then why should we accept it? So that means when these Brits, the British would have come to trade in India, they would have been asking us for products, and we would have been asking for pure gold or silver. You want to buy things from us, give us bullion, gold and silver. Why should we take your currency? We don't recognize it. That means when England is doing trade with us, all the gold and silver from England is coming to India initially. That is why India was called the golden sparrow. Sara paisa to India ja raha hai, ud ke, right? Then what kind of trade is it? You are making no profits out of it. You are just surviving because you basically do so much of hard work. You buy things from India, you bring them to Europe, you sell them in Europe, and you try to make some profit. But the profits are not exponential. Why the profits are not exponential? Now there's a very basic understanding. King of England or Queen of England said, from England only this company will go and buy goods from India. But then there are French, there are Dutch, there are Danes, there are everyone, and then there are Indian traders and merchants. So if I am one such Indian who make these tilex in India in those times, right? For let's say it is a simple pen. I make pen. There is huge demand of pen in Europe, but they do not know how to make this pen. And when I make this pen in India, I make it for 1 rupee. Done. Then add the cost of 1 rupee for every 100 pens for transportation to Europe. That means every pen will cost 1 rupees 10 paisa. If you buy it from India, if I sell it at no profit, no loss. And then you go and you sell it in Europe, there is easy demand that you can sell it for 5 rupees. Because there is huge demand, but there is less supply. Now, because there is less supply and more demand, you can increase profit. The prices can increase. But if everybody comes to India and buy these Indian products, then the demand and supply matches each other. Then why should there be profits? Everybody is bringing the pen. Na? If I say I sell it for 5, she says, okay, I will sell it for 4. I will sell it for 3. I will sell it for 2.5. You bought it at 1.10. Taking all the risk, you travel so much, and at the end if you like sell it for 2 rupees, and it is conditional subject to the fact that Indians sell it at no profit, no loss. But now that you all are coming, there is huge demand. When there is huge demand, and we Indians are very smart, we will not produce as much as you want. We will always keep the supply less than the demand. We will not make so many pens now that tomorrow we have glut in the market and there are less buyers and more pens, then the prices will clash. So we intentionally do less work and enjoy more. So I said, okay, I make it for 1. That's my smartness. I will not sell it for less than 5 rupees. If you want to buy, take it. And when you know that in Europe, the pens can be sold for more than 5 or 10 rupees even. So what you will do? Okay, I give you 5.5. Give it to me. The French will say, I give you 6. Give it to me. You will start making less pens because you are getting more money for the pens that you make. Now, because this is going to happen for quite a long time, every European company is understanding a simple fact. Eliminate the competition. Let's have complete monopoly over this trade. If no other European but for me, be it British, French, Dutch, Dane, if we are left in this trade, then there are 2 benefits. 1, we will only be the people who will be selling it in Europe. No competition, we can sell it for 20 rupees even because they need it now. And if we are the only people to buy it from India, then we can buy it for 2 rupees even. because there is no one else to buy these goods. Then how can Indians bargain against us? And once we make them sell these products at bare minimum, then their profits will shrink, they will starve, then we can make them the wage labor. Instead of paying them for every pen, we'll pay them for monthly wages now, and make them make n number of pens for us. They will be subordinated, we will be making exponential profits. Now that's the mindset with which British conquest of India will start. Clear? First they have to eliminate all the European competitors, then they have to also eliminate the Indian competitors. Then they understood that unless we have the state power, how can we force these people to work according to us? So they will have to take power into their hands politically as well. So the merchants will turn into rulers. Now up to this point, I open the chat for online students. If you want to ask anything, you have to raise your hand. Nobody will type, because if everyone will type, it will not be easy. We are more than 120 students today. And here, if you have any doubt, feel free and ask. Anything that you couldn't understand or you relate with. Sukhman. All right. हाँ जी सुखमन बोलो. हाँ जी बेटा. हाँ जी बेटा. सुखमन आपकी ना आवाज बहुत कट रही है. लेट्स डू वन थिंग, आप टाइप कर दो. यहाँ पे किसी को भी डाउट आया? हाँ जी सर, कोई डाउट? पिक्चर क्लियर हो गई? किशोर आप हाथ खड़ा करना, और बाबा आई एम वेटिंग फॉर योर क्वेश्चन. आई हैव ओपन द चैट बॉक्स, प्लीज क्विकली टाइप इट. एंड किशोर, कैन यू रेज योर हैंड इफ पॉसिबल? किशोर कुमार. Sukhman, what I was saying is, agar British get the political power in India, then they can force the Indians not to become the entrepreneurs or businessmen, but they can force them to work as labor for them. All right, chalo. Let's now go to the maps, slides, and I show you that how we have to understand this British India. First of all, let's try understand that why and how Vasco da Gama came to India. Why and how? Two things. If I talk about Indian history from the past, Shakti, you want to ask something? Okay, let me give you the mic. Yes, Shakti, please tell me. And please be a little quick to ask this. Shakti Pandey, can you please be quick to ask? I've given you the mic, you raise your hand, and let's not waste each other's time. क्या कह रहे हो sir? Sir, I didn't mean to ask anything by mistake, sir. Okay, that's okay. See, there was if I go back into ancient India or even medieval India, there was never a time when India was not trading with Europe. If you read ancient India, let's talk about the times of Indus Valley civilization, right? While Indus Valley civilization was there, we have heard that they used to come to Red Sea and trade with Africa, Egypt, and with Mesopotamia in Iraq, right? So this is Red Sea. Here we have here is Red Sea, and this is your Mediterranean Sea. This is Italy, right? So if Indians would come through the Arabian Sea and come to Red Sea, they sell products to Egyptians in Africa. Egyptians will go through the Mediterranean, give it to Europe. So there has always been a sea link from the ancient times, from where Indian goods can reach up to Europe. This is one thing. Even if when I come to the times of Ashoka, Ashoka says that we have the neighbors like Chira, Chola, Pandyas. And these people, Chiras, particularly in the Kerala region, we know that they had trade contacts with Romans, and Romans are Italians. So that means even during the ancient times, there was good trade route from the sea area. But in this sea area, it is first you come in the sea up to Red Sea, then it comes to land, Egypt, then again through Mediterranean to Europe. So it is sea, land, sea route. This is one. The second one, from China to India, going through this area, you come to Levant. This is called Old Silk Route. So there was a complete land route and a sea, land, sea route through which India was doing trade with Europe, direct or indirect. So goods were reaching Europe regularly. In 1453, the Ottoman Turks became very active. Suleiman right? They became very active in this area, Old Silk Route area, and they captured this area called Constantinople. Constantinople is the present day city of Istanbul. It is on the confluence here, right? So Red Sea, this Red Sea, Mediterranean Sea, all controlled by Ottomans here. Now that Ottomans have taken control of this area, these Ottomans wanted to expand. While they will try to expand, they will move towards Eastern Europe. They will fight wars here. They will capture areas of Greece, Bulgaria and Romania, Macedonia. They will capture all this. It will become part of the Ottoman Empire. So Muslim Islam reaches Eastern Europe. Then they will expand towards Africa. They will capture Egypt. Then they will start moving here. They will capture this area and moving towards India. The Delhi Sultanate is being established. Before that, even the Turks have already reached here. And 1400s वाला time जो चल रहा है ये India में Muslim rule establish हो रहा है, right? So this entire area is witnessing constant war after fall of Constantinople. Because there is constant war, the old Silk Route has to be abandoned for trade. If the traders are going, they will be killed due to wars, they will be robbed. So why should traders move on this track? So the entire trade through old Silk Route came to some end after 1453. Now the entire burden is on this area, right? Because the entire burden is on this. Now what we see here is, if I am coming through the Arabian Sea and I come up to Red Sea, give it to Egyptians, they bring it to the Mediterranean. Here we have Italy, and Italy is sitting like the foot of Europe here. So what will happen? Now Italy will monopolize the trade. Italy gets all the goods initially. Then how will the people sitting at the corner get these goods? The people in Spain and Portugal, they are not getting these goods. So the Spanish and the Portuguese, they wanted to find some new route to come directly to India to buy the goods. Before the Portuguese will come, the Spanish, who is Spanish man? Columbus. He will try to find way to India. He will try to come through this side, but then turn other way, reaches up to that area, Caribbean, American side. He thought I'm going to India, ended up being in the Caribbean. He said, oh, I reached India and I have found the Red Indians. The original Americans are called Red Indians. Then came Vasco da Gama. He started from Portugal. Instead of coming through this route again, he explored a new route. Coming from the Cape of Good Hope, he reached Calicut. Now they have found a new route to come to India for trade. And the Portuguese reached India, Vasco da Gama, in 1498. Now that they have found this new route, they understood one thing very early and very easily. Control the waters. Means control the sea and the ocean. Don't let anyone come and compete against you. For next almost 100 years, the Portuguese are the only players in Indian trade. Why? Because they have the most superior navy. And in these 100 years, other Europeans were dependent on these Portuguese. Now, because you are dependent on Portuguese and you are paying through your nose, you are bleeding through your nose to pay to the to the Portuguese, every country is now trying to follow the same example. Let's go to India. But unless they make a very strong navy, how can they come to India? So all the European players first invest a lot on improving their navies. And whosoever will have the best navy will survive in this competition. So when the British will start thinking about coming to India, the situation will be something like this. The Portuguese were the first to come to India. They were followed by Dutch. Dutch came to India before the British came, right? Then came British. They were followed by Danes of Denmark, and then came the French. Now, British are sitting in center, to this side, to that side. Now that the British have come to India in 1600, after making their East India Company, after a few years of 1600, Dutch came in 1602, so British came after that. Danes came somewhere around 1616 and they came in 1668, right? 1664, I'm sorry. So this is how the Europeans came. Now, British came. The Portuguese are already in India from 1498 onwards. They have proved themselves to be the best of the best navy, and the Mughals have always been knowing this, that they are more superior as a navy. Now, if British asked the Mughals, we want to do trade in India. The Mughals thought, will the Portuguese ever let the British do this trade? And if we allow the British, the Portuguese may trouble us as well, because we are not a strong navy. The Mughals were weak in navy. So Jahangir, son of Akbar, he said, sorry sir, I cannot allow the British for trade. So British realized that unless we defeat the Portuguese, these Indians will not take us seriously. So British then created problem for Portuguese and defeated them in a battle, naval battle. Once the Portuguese were defeated, they confined themselves to the Goa region because they realized now Britain is far superior a navy than us. And the Mughals said, oh God, British are more powerful, allow them the trade. So British allowed them, the Mughals allowed them trade permission in India. Now British and Dutch started fighting. After a long era of fights, finally Dutch agreed, let's move to Indonesia. British said, okay, you do trade from Indonesia, we will not interfere. You do not interfere in India. So Dutch were forced to go to Indonesia. These people of Denmark, Danes, for what good reason, though I don't know, but yes, they developed more interest in spreading Christianity in India rather than doing trade. So they were making no profits. Whatever trades, a little bit of trade they could do, they invested the profits in spreading Christianity in India. And very soon they ended up having an interest. They said, when we are not making profits, so what to continue here? They asked Britain, can you buy the lands that we have acquired in India? And it is always easier for the bigger companies, the sharks, to take over the smaller companies. So इन्होंने take over कर लिया. British took over the territories of Danes. Now left in the competition are the British and the French. They will fight up to 1760s and finally the French will be defeated. Now British are the only players left in India to do all the trade, and while they are the only players, the luck is on their side. While they were defeating other Europeans, Mughals were defeating themselves. The Mughals were becoming very weak. Because the Mughals were weak, there was no challenge for the British now. And the best excuse that British could drive out, they said, because in India there is no strong player politically. Mughals have disintegrated and there is no ruler in India who can rule over the entire territory. So there is lot of anarchy in India, lot of chaos in India. Law and order is a problem. Our trade is not safe. And these circumstances forced us to take over India politically. We never wanted this. You created the circumstances we had to win India, though we came just for trade, right? So one of their writers wrote a very beautiful statement. He said, we conquered India in a fit of absent-mindedness. हमें पता नहीं चला हम इंडिया कब जीत गए, हालात बनते गए, हम जीतते गए. We तो just realized the day we found, oh, we are the masters of India. हम सोच के थोड़ा आए थे. तुमने इतना प्यार दिया, तुम मान ही गए जो भी हम कहते गए और सब ठीक हो गया, right? So this is how British conquest of India happened. Any doubt up to this point, anyone? I said I will be giving you regular stops here so that you can ask your doubts. Aditya, don't worry, you will get it. So no doubt, online students or offline students. मैं अब ना चैट को enable कर रहा हूँ. I hope now you have understood that you are not to spam it. So you will let me teach and not keep typing unnecessarily. So you know why he came and how he came. ये clear हो गया? इस पे डिटेल में लिखेंगे. We will write elaborately from tomorrow, right? Then what happens next now? These are the different areas where the Europeans will establish their companies. What we see, they all are sitting on the coastline of India. More or less, most of the companies are settled on the coastline of India. Why? Because they want to control the naval trade, right? So everybody is sitting on the coastline of India. Be it the British, the French, the Dutch, the Danes, ये सब की companies बनी हुई हैं. I will share the maps with you. Clear? All right. Now we come to Mughal India. Now here I will dictate you few quick points. वो तुम लिख भी लेना. कल की क्लास में हम वो नहीं लिखेंगे because that is part of medieval India. But to connect the story, हमें थोड़े से ये points बताने चाहिए. तो ये थोड़े points, let's write them along with my explanation and your understanding. So guys, it was Babur who established Mughal Empire in India. And the story started from 1526 when Babur came and he fought first battle of Panipat. 1526, first battle of Panipat, and in this first battle of Panipat, Akbar defeated Ibrahim Lodhi. Right? Babur defeated Ibrahim Lodhi. 1526, Akbar defeated Ibrahim Lodhi in the first battle of Panipat. Sunil yaar, I teach only in English and all my students know this. Are you my existing student or you have just joined the class today for demo? Can I know this? Sunil, can you please raise your hand? Dutch, Rakesh, Dutch are from Holland. विद्या दादा, विद्या जी आपको तो मैंने हाथ खड़ा करने को बोला ही नहीं है. सुनील, आप हाथ खड़ा करोगे बेटा प्लीज? सुनील, हाँ जी. आर यू एन एग्जिस्टिंग स्टूडेंट सुनील? कौन से बैच से हो बेटा? हाँ जी सर, एनसीईआरटी बैच में तो बताया हम इंग्लिश में पढ़ाते हैं, है ना? पढ़ाते तो हम इंग्लिश में. चलो ठीक है. So like you explain all others, can you explain how Dutch came? Umang, every other person will come only for this trade now. For what other reason they have to come? Only for trade, right? Chalo. So Ibrahim Lodhi was defeated in the first battle of Panipat when the Mughals came to India. It was 1526, and with this Delhi Sultanate ended and Mughal Empire started getting established in India, right? Now look at this map. When the Mughals will come, right, they are coming from this side, from beyond Kabul. They came and they have to fight in this area. They have to fight against the Sultans of Delhi. They are coming to Panipat and they have to fight. UPSC asked the question once, and the question is like, why Panipat became such an important place for important battles? The first battle of Panipat, second battle of Panipat, third battle of Panipat, and every time significant change in Indian history was witnessed. So the story here is why Panipat is the natural choice for great warriors. Let's just understand it. We will write it in the regular classes. Understanding this, we are coming to take over Delhi, whosoever is coming. In the first battle of Panipat, it is Babur who is coming from this side. In the second battle of Panipat, it is Akbar who will be coming. And in the third battle of Panipat, it will be Ahmad Shah Abdali coming from this area, Kabul, Afghan invader. So all of them are coming from this side, from the northwestern sides. Now, when they are coming from this side and they have to fight against Delhi, their interest is to come as near to Delhi as possible, right? So that they can attack and take over. But if I am the ruler of Delhi, my interest is not to go so far away from Delhi that the supply chains are disrupted. मुझे दिल्ली से रेगुलर सप्लाई भी चाहिए ना, खाना भी चाहिए, हथियार भी चाहिए. If I go too far away, my supply lines will be disrupted. So I will try to stay close to Delhi. And from Delhi, let's come to Murthal, Sonipat, and then to Panipat. And the area of Panipat is not very fertile area till date. Even during those time, it was not very fertile. So there were not many farms here, open field. Not much of the civilization, not many people living, because older times people will live in the areas where there is lot of fertility. So they will live where you get a lot of fertility. So yes, this is open area. So it's a natural choice for the ruler of Delhi. It will not disrupt the civilization. Common people will not suffer. It's an open ground. Come and fight the pitched battle here. One simple understanding. Why Panipat is a natural choice. Second, if I look at this Yamuna river, right, geographically at Panipat, Yamuna becomes the most shallow, right? सबसे कम गहरी यमुना पानीपत में है. इसके आसपास यमुना is not that shallow, it's very deep. So to traverse Yamuna here is easier. इसलिए तुमने अगर वो मूवी देखी थी अभी जो आई थी पानीपत, संजय दत्त वाली, जिसमें वो मराठाओं की बैटल दिखाई है. So while they were treading Yamuna, they said कि इसको तो क्रॉस नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, इतना पानी है. And when they reached Panipat, it became easy for them to move on to the other sides. So Yamuna becomes shallow near Panipat. This is the geographical factor. So whosoever is coming, they will try to come at a place where there is less danger to the forces while crossing the rivers or to move to the other side for the battle. दो explanation हो गई. Third explanation, if I am coming from Kabul side, Ghazni side, right, I have two choices to come to India. Either I can come through Punjab. Today it can be Pakistani Punjab. At that time it was our Punjab. Or the other is I can come through Rajputana. Why should I come through Rajputana in the hot summers of India? What sense it make to me that I am taking the Rajasthan side? So the natural choice is this one. And then before the second battle of Panipat happens, Sher Shah Sur has already come into picture, and Sher Shah constructed a road, and that is the exact GT road that comes from Afghanistan borders of Pakistan to Bangladesh. So when there is already a motorable road where your chariots can come faster, you will take the natural course of the road na, तुम उसी road से आओगे और आके लड़ोगे. So four factors are there. The invader would like to be as close to Delhi as possible, and the ruler of Delhi would not like to go too far to disrupt the supply lanes. Geographically shallow river at this place, Panipat, open fields. Then Rajasthan is not a safe place to come because of the heat in India. And lastly, from the second battle onward, there was already a proper road created by Sher Shah Sur, that is called Sher Shah Sur Marg, right? So these 4-5 factors make Panipat the natural choice. Is it clear now why battles happened at Panipat? So now that the Mughals came, Babur came to India in 1526. Now 1526, 27, 28 and 29, Babur fought 4 wars. Simple: Panipat, Khanwa, Chandheri, Ghaggar. And in 1530 he died. Death of Babur. अब सिंपल याद करना है, बाबर पी के सो गया. सिंपल, आया पी के सो गया, खत्म हो गया भाई 1530 में, ज्यादा पी ली होगी. ठीक है. नाउ दैट पानीपत, खनवा, चंदेरी, घग्गर, 4 battles have been fought. ये तो नॉर्थ इंडिया में ही हो रहे हैं ना, राजपुताना में, यहाँ दिल्ली की तरफ. अभी तो ये आगे गया ही नहीं सेंट्रल इंडिया में भी. एंड व्हेन बाबर डाइड इन 1530, those whom you have defeated, they will rise in revolt against you ना. मैंने तुम्हें हराया था, मैं ही मर गया, तुमने फिर रिवोल्ट कर दिया. So you were defeated by me, perhaps you feared me. My son is not as powerful as I was. So there is a possibility now. And yes, all the people again revolted. Babur, when he died, he had 4 sons. He said, okay, my son Humayun will take over my Indian territory. The other 3 brothers of Humayun, Askari, Hindal and Kamran, they challenged, we want to have India. So 4 brothers are fighting. Taking advantage of this, other Indians will revolt against him. And that exactly happened when Sher Shah started from Bihar, challenged Humayun. And in 1540, Sher Shah defeated Humayun. Humayun had to run away from India. He had to go seek help from Iran, Persia. For 1540, within 10 years, Mughal Empire ended in India. Babur just planted a seed in India for Mughals. Humayun could not water it properly, the tree died, the plant died. The Sher Shah Sur and his family is now ruling India. Humayun is seeking help from outside. While Humayun ran away in 1540, 1542, Akbar is born. So Akbar is not born a son to a king, he is a born son to a fugitive. एक भगोड़ा है जिसका बेटा है अकबर, जो अपनी जान बचाने के लिए भाग रहा था. And the Rajputs, out of their, you can say, that An Ban Shan of Rajput, the benevolence of the Rajput, the ruler of Amarkot, Rana Prasad, he said, oh yaar, female is pregnant, we can give her asylum, देख लेंगे शेरशाह क्या करता है. So Rajput gave asylum to mother of Akbar. भी शेरशाह मारेगा तो इसको अपने पास रख लेते हैं. So Akbar was born in 1532 at Amarkot. Rajput supported you when you were to be born. When you will be king, how will you not support the Rajputs now? Akbar's Rajput policy has roots in his birth in Rajputana. He will try to make Rajputs their friends because he have realized from the very childhood he has been told they are very brave people. They took all the risk for us. He said, if without any reason they could take so much of risk for us, if I make them my trusted friends, then so there is no threat to me in India. Let Rajputs be the best buddies of the Mughals. And as long as the Rajputs remain loyal to Mughals, the Mughal Empire will continue to survive. The day Aurangzeb comes and adopt wrong policies anti-Hindu policies or whatever you call them, and the Rajput get alienated from the Mughals, the Mughal empire will disintegrate. Rajput became the warriors of the Mughals. They made Mughals strong and stable in India. And because of the wrong policies of Aurangzeb, they lost their support. Done. This is also clear now. So when Babur came, he ruled for 4 years, constantly fighting wars. Mughals are not yet established in India. Then Humayun defeated by Sher Shah, and then Sher Shah himself died in 1545 while he was fighting for Kalinjar fort. And you know, that fort was so strategic that Sher Shah wanted to have that fort. It was so strong that even you put some, bombs there, right? The fort walls were not giving away. And nobody knew that how to plant those bombs on the walls of the fort. Sher Shah said, let me try do this. While he was planting bombs, the bomb blasted and Sher Shah blasted with the bomb. And Sher Shah died. Now that he died, he had weak successors. They continued for a while, but they could not continue as a strong power. Everybody started challenging them. Getting some respite in 1555, 10 years after death of Sher Shah, Humayun came back to India to regain his empire with the help of Persia. The king of Persia gave his army to Humayun, go and take your territory. Now Humayun came and defeated the successors of Sher Shah, took back his empire, and he was so happy that he was running up and down, and he fell from the stairs and died. He fell from the stairs of library. That is why I always tell my office boys, जब बच्चे ऊपर से नीचे आ रहे हैं उनको आराम से बुलाया करो. लो यार, लाइब्रेरी की स्टेयर्स में गिरते लोग बहुत हैं. And a British historian is very smart, Linpole, he said, for Humayun, he couldn't become king. His brothers were fighting, other people revolted, he had to run away, and then he died. So he said, for Humayun, he tumbled throughout his life. सारी जिंदगी गिरता रहा. He tumbled throughout his life to tumble out of life. बेचारा गिर के मर भी गया. Now that he died in 1556, beginning of 1556, this boy Akbar is not even 14 years and he becomes the king. अब तुम्हें लग रहा है तुम ज्यादा बड़े हो चुके हो ऑलरेडी. बंदे 13.5 साल में राजे बन गए हिंदुस्तान के और तुम अभी आराम से बैठे हो यहाँ पे. इमेजिन. करना पड़ेगा ना कुछ अब, तो ऐसे सीरियस हो जाते हैं. या तुम्हारा भी प्लान ऐसी है कुछ कि 40-42 साल तक भारत जोड़ो यात्रा कर लेते हैं, बाद में देखेंगे. सॉरी 50 साल तक, है ना. ऐसे वाले प्लान मत रखना. नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस नेक्स्ट. वैसे तो वाजपेयी साहब ने भी शादी की थी, समझदार लोग नहीं करते, है ना. अब अकबर कम्स इनटू पिक्चर इन 1556, टू यंग, बट दीज आउटगोइंग शेरशाह सुर एंड हिज चिल्ड्रन, इसके बच्चे तो बैठे हैं ना, they will try to regain the power. This leads to second battle of Panipat in 1556. Now Akbar defeated. It is not Akbar, a 13-year-old boy cannot defeat. It is his trusted commander. कौन है वो? बहादुर शाह जफर. हाँ, कौन है? Bairam Khan, Khan Baba. Bairam Khan defeated. So it is Bairam Khan who did the wonder for Mughals. अब मुगल वापिस आ गए इंडिया में. अकबर इज द रूलर. नाउ राइट अ पर्टिकुलर वर्ड हियर. फ्रॉम हियर स्टार्टेड द मुगल एम्पायर. पूजा बेटा फिर आप रिकॉर्डेड देख लेना. So now that the Mughal empire has been established once again under Akbar, now started the Mughal war machine. Now started the Mughal war machine. What is the beginning of this war machine? What it means? देखो आज से ना एक बात समझ लो. For any empire to become strong, stable and it to expand, there is a very intricate relation of three things. Simple. The more the territory you get, the more the revenues you will earn. The more the revenue you get money, more army you can have. The more army you can have, more wars you will win, more territory you will have. That's a very simple relationship. So now Akbar started a plan of conquest of India. Now if I look at these maps, Mughal Empire under Akbar, they have started from this area, right? Now he is expanding, bringing Kashmir, Kabul, Kandahar, Lahore, Multan, Ajmer, Gujarat, Khandesh, Lucknow, Bihar, Bengal, parts of Odisha and Ahmednagar. इतनी एम्पायर उस आदमी ने खड़ी कर दी है विद इन नो टाइम, लेस देन 50 years. He fought, constantly fighting wars and expanding his territory. Now, when you expand your territory, you get all the taxes from these territory. With so much of the taxes, you can have a very strong army as well. So nobody could challenge you. It is that he died. Otherwise, he could have continued winning the wars. Then he died after all these wars. It's been 50 years. He was very old. He died. Now that Akbar has expanded this empire, he expanded it through a very intelligent mechanism. What that mechanism was? His idea of mansabdari system. Now, what is this mansabdari system? He said, if in any of these states where earlier other rulers were ruling, let's take an example. Let me be little more upright, ethically unethical, to tell you a truth. If I come to know that there is any institution in Chandigarh and they have a very good teacher of one particular subject, so what will be my efforts? मैं बोलूंगा भाई कितनी सैलरी है, फिर से एक्स्ट्रा ले ले, आई एम रेडी टू पे यू लिटिल एक्स्ट्रा, तू मेरे पास आगे पढ़ा ले, क्या ही टेंशन है, राइट? एंड इफ आई विल अट्रैक्ट ऑल द गुड टीचर्स हियर, ऑल द गुड टैलेंट हियर, तो ज़्यादा स्टूडेंट भी मेरे पास आएंगे, मेरा रेवेन्यू ज़्यादा हो जाएगा, मैं और टीचर्स ले आऊँगा, मैं और ज़्यादा एडवर्टाइजमेंट कर दूंगा. ऐसा ही होगा ना. सिंपल रूल ऑफ मैथमेटिक्स, सिंपल रूल ऑफ बिजनेस. सो अकबर ने भी जितने टैलेंटेड सोल्जर्स हैं, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स हैं, सबको हैवी पैकेज ऑफर कर दिए थे. जो जहां बैठा भी मेरे पास आ जा. वो तो वॉरियर्स या एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर छोड़ो, वो तो पेंटर्स और गाने वालों को भी उठा के ले आता था. तानसेन गाने गा रहा है, ओ भाई साहब इतना सही गाना, इधर आ जा बेटा, कितना पैकेज है तेरा? 20% ग्रोथ विद 1 annual फॉरेन ट्रिप. चल एक उसको पता चला, कहते एक आदमी है जो चुटकुले बड़े सुनाता है, बीरबल, कहता आजा भाई स्टैंड अप, आज से मेरा पर्सनल बस्सी तू. सबको ले आता था वो जो अच्छे लग रहे हैं. दैट्स द मेथड. यू एक्सपैंड योर एम्पायर, यू हैव द रिसोर्सेज, यू अट्रैक्ट मोर टैलेंट. अब जितना पैकेज तुम्हें रिलायंस दे सकती है उतना तुम्हें कोई और कंपनी थोड़ा दे देगी, बिकॉज दे हैव डीपर पॉकेट्स, राइट? सो अकबर क्रिएटेड वन सच मैकेनिज्म. मनसबदारी सिस्टम इज क्रिएट बिगर वॉरियर्स, यूर ट्रस्टेड सोल्जर्स. उनको अच्छे पैकेज दो, अपने साथ जोड़ लो. और उनको ये बोल देता था अकबर, इस एरिया में तेरे को कमांडर लगा दूंगा, गवर्नर भी तेरे को ही लगा दूंगा, ऐश करना बेटा, बस मेरा ट्रस्टेड रहना. एंड इफ यू रिमेन लॉयल टू मी, तेरे बच्चे भी एडजस्ट करा दूंगा, और अगर नहीं तो मार दूंगा सारा परिवार. सिंपल है ना. एंड अकबर लर्न अ वेरी गुड लेसन अबाउट इंडिया. इंडिया में और किसी की इज्जत होना हो, जवाई की बड़ी इज्जत होती है. अकबर कहता है भाई जितने राजपूत हैं सबकी बेटियों के साथ शादी करो, जवाई बन जाओ. जवाई बन गए, वो तुम्हारे लिए जान दे देंगे, है ना. कुछ जीजेवल देके साढ़े तो ही मार देंगे. अकबर जीजा ही बन गए, जीजा जी होगी सारे राजपूताना में अकबर को लेके. अकबर ने अपने बच्चों को भी यही सिखाया, बेटा सारे राजपूताना च रखने हैं, नाले बच्चे छुट्टियां जाणगे भी नहीं, गर्मियां च नहीं, घर ही रहा करनगे, है ना. नाले उत्थों वधिया चौकी धानी तो खाना आया करेगा तेरे वास्ते. सो अकबर मेड राजपूत नॉट जस्ट द मिलिट्री पार्टनर्स, ही मेड देम अ मैट्रिमोनियस अलायंस पार्टनर. शादियां करवा रहा है उनके साथ, अपनी भी अपने बच्चों की भी. जोधा इसलिए शादी करके आई है ना कि अकबर राजपूताना में हीरो बन जाए. नाउ दैट अकबर हैज एक्सपेंडेड दिस मच, सब बढ़िया चल रहा है. फिर अकबर का बेटा जहांगीर. नाउ जहांगीर विल कम, ही हैज ऑलरेडी गॉट दिस मच ऑफ एम्पायर, थोड़ा इस तरफ मूव कर लेते हैं, हल्का फुल्का ऊपर ऊपर तक, एंड इसको कंसोलिडेट कर लेते हैं. देन जहांगीर की तो लाइफ में और बड़ी टेंशन थी. पहले अनारकली की टेंशन थी जब बड़ा हो रहा था, जब बड़ा हो गया तो उसकी वाइफ मेहरुनिसा की टेंशन थी. वो पहली मुगल एम्प्रेस है जो खुद दरबार में आके बैठ गई. जहांगीर को पैग लगा के साइड पे बिठा दिया था. उसकी वाइफ जो थी, ये क्या नाम था इसका, नूरजहान. नूरजहान, उसका भाई असफुद्दौला, उसके पापा इतमादुद्दौला, सारी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन वो अपने हाथों में ले गए. जहांगीर साइड पे बैठा हुआ था बेचारा, पेंटिंग पुटिंग करा लेता था खुद ही, रोज सुबह उठ के ऐसे खड़ा हो जाता था, हो जा शुरू पोर्ट्रेट, है ना, सेल्फीज की तरह वो पोर्ट्रेट बनवाता था. फिर इसका बेटा आ गया शाहजहां, उसको मुमताज की टेंशन जिंदगी भर खा गई. वो गई तो उसने ताजमहल बनवा दिए. कहाँ लड़ेंगे, टाइम ही कहाँ है. अब आया औरंगजेब, उसने मुगल एम्पायर थोड़ा और एक्सपैंड किया, बीजापुर गोलकुंडा जीत लिया. इसके बाद तो उसकी भी डेथ हो गई 1707 में। दैट मीन्स इंडिया बियॉन्ड कर्नाटक रीजन, बीजापुर गोलकुंडा रीजन, ये तो मुगलों ने जीता ही नहीं, इट रिमेन इंडिपेंडेंट। मुगल सिर्फ यहां तक आ पाए हैं, और इधर भी देख लो, असम में नहीं गए हैं, बंगाल तक आए हैं। असम वॉज नेवर पार्ट ऑफ मुगल एम्पायर, असम में अहोम्स वर रूलिंग। they did try the Mughals but they could not win, even औरंगजेब tried, but कैसे डिफिकल्ट टेरेन्स हैं, उस तरफ जाने के लिए पहाड़ पहाड़ नहीं जीत पाए। चलो मुगल्स यहां तक आ गए 1707 तक। दिस इज मुगल एम्पायर एडिड बाय औरंगजेब, यहां तक उसने जोड़ दी, डन। ह्यूज एम्पायर। अब क्या हुआ, औरंगजेब डाइड इन 1707। बिफोर ही डाइड उसने कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएट कर दी। वन, he reintroduced jizya in India, that if you are not a Muslim you have to pay tax, and that tax is more like a protection money. One who pay jizya get the status of zimmi, zimmi. Now what is zimmi? Protected one. If you want to remain non-Muslim, a Hindu or a Sikh or a Christian, whatever, you can remain that, pay state the tax, and nobody will force you to convert to Islam. Now that is what we mean by jizya, right? You can continue to have your religion, you believe in your God, you worship your God as you are pleased, but you have to pay tax to the state. But remember one thing, it doesn't mean that Muslims are free from taxes. If I am a Muslim, Aurangzeb will ask me to pay my zakat. That is religious tax. So be Hindu, be Muslim, be Sikh, you all have to pay tax. It was no discrimination though. But yes, you are forcing tax in the name of religion, that is wrong. He said every Muslim will pay zakat. Right? Today many Muslims pay zakat and many they do not pay zakat, but it is given by their Quran. These are 4 taxes of Quran: khams, kharas, zakat or jizya. These are the 4 taxes, and he said I am a very strong believer of Islam and I will only have these 4 taxes. Done. Now that he imposed these taxes on Hindus, so Rajputs are not happy. Then he is making undue interference in this area, and this is the area of Marathas, and Chhatrapati Shivaji is not liking their interference. So Marathas Hindu power, Rajput Hindu power, they both have turned hostile to Aurangzeb and they became friends, the Rajputs and the Marathas, and now the Mughals are challenged because of the execution of 2 Sikh gurus, the 5th Sikh guru, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, and the 9th Sikh guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, one during the time of Jahangir, second during the time of Aurangzeb. The Sikhs turned rebellious. They said we will take revenge for this, and Guru Gobind Singh Ji created Khalsa in 1699 and then started strong wars between the Mughals and the Sikhs. And then after Guru Gobind Singh Ji, Banda Bahadur continued the wars, right? So entire Punjab has already revolted. They do not consider Mughals anymore the legitimate rulers. Rajputs do not consider them legitimate rulers. Marathas do not consider them legitimate rulers. So all this territory is no more legitimately under the Mughals, and they will not pay regular taxes now. Because they will not pay regular taxes, they do not have money to have the strong army. Because their army is getting weak, others will also revolt. Because others also revolted, they lost more territory. Because they lost more territory, they have less money. Because they have less money, they have far less army. Now why should your neighbor sit quiet? Nadir Shah and Ahmad Shah Abdali will regularly come and invade India to take away Indian money. So as much as of the money you are left with, it will be taken away. So Mughals are now pretty weak. There are no chance to revive at all. Because of this, now there are so many independent states that have emerged in India. Earlier, where there was one strong Indian empire, Mughal empire, now you have 6 in Punjab, and there are 12 Sikh groups called missals. They are fighting with each other. And finally, Shukar Chakya missile of Maharaja Ranjit Singh will become the most powerful, and it will create independent Sikh kingdom. The Rajputs have revolted, Jaisalmer, Jodhpur, Jaipur, Mewar, Bikaner, all independent states. Marathas have revolted. Awadh, once part of Mughal empire, became autonomous. Bengal became autonomous. Hyderabad, Nizam, he said, even I am independent. The entire India broke up. Mysore, different state under Hyder Ali, Tipu Sultan. Every state is now an independent state. So there is no central power in India, no unity in India. Now when the British will come, they are not to fight against any strong ruler. There are so small players. They can defeat one by one everyone. And so unfortunate is the fact. It is not just division It is mutual clash and conflicts. Mysore is fighting with Hyderabad. Mysore is fighting with Marathas. Marathas are fighting with Hyderabad. Marathas are fighting with Awadh. Marathas are fighting with these Sindh people. Sikhs are fighting against Afghans. Everybody is fighting with each other. When Mughals will come and attack Bengal, nobody else from India will come to their help. When Mughals will come and fight Mysore, nobody will come to help them. When Mughals will fight Marathas, nobody will come to fight on their behalf. Then the Mughals will defeat Sikh and the Mughal conquest is complete. So what is the biggest reason behind British success is lack of unity in India. There was no central power. Because there was no central power, India was not just politically divided, India was militarily weak as well. It was so weak that no two players come together. That means every player has a very limited army. And rather, British were so smart, they could befool these people as well. Divide and rule is their idea. Na? So they said, while they had to fight against Mysore, because Mysore is fighting against Hyderabad and Mysore is fighting against Marathas. So British said to Marathas and Hyderabad, can we fight a common enemy together? We don't like Mysore and even you do not like Mysore. Let's be friends and defeat Mysore. With their help, they defeated Mysore. Now that Mysore is defeated and British army sitting in Mysore, British army here, British army there. Now they attack Marathas. Who will come and help Marathas now? Marathas has been attacked from both sides. So basically they were smart, they were over smart, and we were perhaps innocent or fools. We couldn't understand their plans. This is how British conquest happened. Is it now clear? Any doubt in this story up to this point? Anyone online? Any doubt if you have, guys? No doubt. Okay, thank you. यहाँ वाले तो ऐसा लग रहा है जैसे इनको हिस्ट्री बचपन से आती थी. सब समझ आ गया. Sure, no doubt. It is always very lucky to have an intelligent class. And when students come and ask me on day one, na sir, कितने दिन में क्लास खत्म होगी? मैं क्या ही बताऊँ यार. If you will keep studying like this and I keep telling the story like this, perhaps in next 10 days the class is over. Because you are not stopping me anywhere, na? And then if you start interacting, perhaps something that I've thought for one lecture may continue to 2 lectures, and I thought that I may continue history for 20 days and it may take me 30 days. How can a teacher decide the pace of the class? It is up to the students. The more eager to know more things, more eager to discuss and analyze the things the class is, the more the number of days it will take, and the less of the interest by the students, the lesser number of the days. I have, let's say, 20 facts for a day, and if she asks me a question, I have to add like one more fact. That cascades, he asking me another question, adding one more fact. Then there is no end to the class. For that right, you have to give teacher that authority to dismiss irrational, irrelevant questions. जैसे क्लास में बच्चे कभी कभी ये भी पूछ लेते होते हैं मेरे से, सर हैड देयर बीन नो गांधी व्हाट वुड हैव हैपेंड? मैंने क्या पता, वो थे तो ये हुआ, ना होते तो क्या होता, मुझे क्या पता. एक जना कहता सर अगर गांधी भी वायलेंट हो जाते, मैं कभी भगत सिंह साइलेंट हो जाते, फिर भगत सिंह को क्या करने की जरूरत थी कि गांधी आप भी पटाखे पालने के पाने थे उन्हें. सो प्लीज डोंट आस्क मी दैट काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चन जिनके कोई आंसर ही नहीं हो सकते. क्वेश्चन वो पूछना जिसके मेरे पास आंसर हो. एंड आई होप यू कैन ट्रस्ट मी फॉर दिस. As much as UPSC can ask, I have all the answers. Done? उसके beyond तुम आगे मेरे से पूछ लो, सर गांधी जी के बेटों ने शादी किससे की? मुझे क्या पता. मुझे तो ये नहीं पता गांधी जी के बेटे कितने. तुम्हें पता है? मनीलाल गांधी, रामलाल गांधी. एक तो नाम ऐसे रखे हैं बापू ने, बच्चों के नाम भी याद नहीं होते. भाई हमारे ऐसे बना दिए ना, मनीलाल. मनीलाल कौन नाम रखता है यार? अपना नाम देखो, मोहनदास करमचंद गांधी, बेटा ना मनीलाल. बेटा ही कहता है डैडी मैंने नहीं आपसे बात करनी, ऐसा नाम रखा आपने, मनीलाल कपड़े धो के लाओ. चलो ये हो गया इंडिया इन 1757. ऐसा इंडिया बन चुका है. नाउ दैट ब्रिटिश एंड फ्रेंच आर कंपीटिंग टू हैव कंट्रोल ओवर इंडिया, दिस इज द एरिया कॉल्ड द कर्नाटिक. साउथ इंडिया वाला जो एरिया ना, मद्रास वाला ये एरिया, दिस इज कॉल्ड कर्नाटिक. राइट, साउथ इंडिया वाला एरिया, नॉट कर्नाटका वाला एरिया. कर्नाटिक इज द बिगर पार्ट. राइट. Now in South India, the British and the French, they fought three Carnatic wars. The first Carnatic war happened in 1746 to 48, right? Second Carnatic war 49 to 54, and the third Carnatic war 56 to 63. With these three Carnatic wars, the British finally defeated the French as well. While they were fighting these three Carnatic wars, you have to look at one important fact of history. Third Carnatic War, 1756 to 63. In between this, at the very early start of it, 1757 Battle of Plassey, it happened, and we have Plassey in Bengal, right? Now that British, while French and British were fighting in south only, the British also went to north, eastern side Bengal, and they won Battle of Plassey. Because they won Battle of Plassey, they got lot of money from Plassey. Now that they got so much money from Plassey, Bengal, they brought that money with which they could have more soldiers, and they defeated the French. So it was very fortunate for the British that they could win one war while they were fighting another war in south. So British success in Bengal laid the foundations for British Indian Empire. And the journey started with Clive. Clive is the hero of these Carnatic wars, right? He was a soldier, then he will become the governor as well after Plassey, because he won it, so he got the right to make the rules of the game now. So Plassey happened in 1757. Now why Plassey happened? Here we have Plassey, 1757. Sirajudaulah was the Nawab of Bengal, right? Now you have to again go back in times to understand that what problem was created here and why Sirajudaulah was now removed by the British, why he was got killed by the British. 1600 British came to start trade in India. Every time they will go and ask the Mughals, can we set up a factory in India? Now remember a thing I said, industrial revolution started from England in 1760. That means there is nothing being produced in England. England is not supplying goods, now it's buying goods. Now that you have come to India to buy goods from India, so the situation can be that I am in India and I am buying things from interior of India, and then the things are to be sent to England, so I have to bring them on the coastline, right? Anywhere here. When I bring the things on the coastline, do you think that every day it is possible for me, for the British to have a ship ready to take the stuff? Is it every day that the sea is not rough and you can go for shipping? So some days the sea is in, like there is a storm in the sea. Some days there is heavy rain. There can be cyclonic movement. There can be anything like something happening in the sea. So you cannot go for trade. And then it is not possible to send one ship every day. You have to have a lot of goods. Then a proper fleet will be prepared. 10-20 ships come together, take a lot of stuff from India and then sail together. It makes sense. Security and profits, both possible. So you cannot sail every day. You need to keep your goods safe in India as well. So the British started asking the Mughal emperors and the local governors here and there, sir, can we have a factory here? Can you please allow us lease out some land so that we can set up a factory? So factory here means godown, where you will keep your stuff. When you start having factories in India on the coastline, now what you are asking the Mughal emperors exactly, or the governors, I will have this area, let's say in Bombay, I will make one factory. Factory comes from factors. Who are factors? The employees of the factory. Where the factors will operate, it is factory. Now, if this is a factory, British said, can we fortify it? Means, can there be some security around it so that nobody can come and steal our products, rob us of our products here? So Mughal emperors were asked to give British the permission to have their army, private army. Now there is no need to bring England people to India to serve in army. You Indians can be given monthly salary and you can be given those red coats and white trousers. You will become the British Indian army. So they are not bringing army from England. You become their army. They paid you money, you became the mercenary troopers. So if Mughals could do this earlier by paying better packages, so even British can give better packages to Indian soldiers working under different rulers and to their officers as well. And then they will desert the rulers and they will join the East India Company. So they have now the soldiers. Now that you have your army, you have your goods in the factory. For these goods, you need accountants. You need the people who will pack the goods, who will then load the goods, then the people who will maintain the security here. So there is a lot of stuff. For every factory where so much of the British staff is now working, you need to have one president who will be head of a factory, right? So you have a president here. Now this president will manage all the things. Then one by one you will have so many factories on west, so many factories in east, and so many factories in south, because there are so many factories on every side of India. Let's say on western side I have a factory at Surat. This is the first factory in Gujarat, right? On western side there was no Gujarat, it is Bombay. So then there is a factory at Bombay, then there is a factory at Ahmedabad, Baroda, Bharuch, so many factories. Similarly in South India, Madras, Masulipatam, Nagapattinam. Then in east I have factories in Hooghly, Calcutta, Odisha, so many factories, Balasore and whatever. Now so many factories here, so many factories here, and so many factories in south. Now every factory has a president, and there are, let's say, 10 factories here, 10 here, and 10 here. Now I need to have better administration to make it more convenient to administer them. I said, okay, on the western coast of India, Bombay will be the headquarters. On the eastern side, Calcutta will be the headquarters, and on the south side, it will be Madras, that will be the headquarters. Now, because this is headquarter and all the factories have their presidents, how can the headquarter have the president? So now we'll have governor of Bombay, governor of Madras, and governor of Calcutta. And under them, there are so many presidents. So this is Bombay presidency, Madras presidency, and Calcutta presidency. In one presidency, there are so many factories with the president and staff and soldiers. That means if, let's say, one factory has 1,000 soldiers, right? So there are 10 factories, 10,000 soldiers under governor of Bengal, another 10,000 under Madras, another 10,000 under Bombay. That means you have 30,000 soldiers in India. Keep expanding, make more factories, have more soldiers. You have a strong army in India. Simple. So British are planning things very wisely. Now that you have started making these factories, in 1612, the Mughal Emperor Jahangir gave them the Farman. Farman is royal order. Okay, set up your first factory at Surat. And then gradually started establishing all these factories. Then while you were setting up these factories, you still have so much of the competition now, all other Europeans here. Now, I, as a British officer, Captain Hawkins or anyone, I will come and meet Jahangir, or I can meet Shah Jahan, or I can meet any Mughal emperor by taking some kind of, favor from some of the officers. किसी को रिश्वत देके राजा से मिल लिया. Then I requested them one thing. Can you give us something very special which is exclusive to the British and no other Europeans? कुछ ऐसा हमारे लिए खास कर दो ना जो किसी के लिए ना हो. Right? Every day you are trying and meeting the Mughal officers, Mughal emperors, bribing them, seeking something very special. But things are not materializing. In 1717, there was a Mughal emperor by the name of Farooq Siyar. This man, Farooq Siyar, was quite old at that time, but he wanted to marry a very young girl, a very beautiful damsel. But unfortunately, Raja साहब के फोड़ा निकल आया, पिस्टुला, और राजा साहब से तो बैठा नहीं जा रहा. शादी क्या करेंगे? तौबा तौबा तौबा. बट राजा साहब बड़े उदास हैं, लाइक ही इज डाइंग. भी लाहौल वाला कुवत, निगाह पढ़ना है, मौलवी राजी, बेगम राजी, अब मैं ही फंसा पड़ा हूँ. तो वो बड़े दुखी हैं. इज फुल विद पेन, लाइक डाइंग विद पेन. बाई चांस इंग्लैंड से एक आदमी आया हुआ है, जॉन सुलमन, और उसके साथ एक स्कॉटिश सर्जन आया हुआ है, विलियम हैमिल्टन. वो राजा से मिलने आ गए. दिस स्कॉटिश सर्जन ही ऑपरेटेड फारूक सियार, और उसका फोड़ा फोड़ा सब निकाल दिया. बादशाह बहादुर खुश, इंशाल्लाह अब निकाह भी होगा. बड़ी सेड, सर हमारा भी देखो कुछ इंशाल्लाह. फिर ही सेड, बताओ जिले लाही आज बहुत खुश हैं, क्या मांगते हो? कहते सर स्पेशल परमिशन, आज के बाद हमारे को टैक्स नहीं लगना चाहिए इंडिया में. बट एवर वी बाय फ्रॉम इंडिया, हमें टैक्स नहीं लगेगा. बस इतनी सी बात, तामील हो. द मुगल एम्परर अलाउड ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी ड्यूटी फ्री ट्रेड इन इंडिया. बाकी सब ड्यूटी पे करेंगे, अंग्रेज ड्यूटी पे नहीं करेंगे. राइट? कितना बना बेनिफिट मिल गया ना. अब ब्रिटिश निकले टॉर से, अगले दिन दे वेंट फॉर द ट्रेड. एक जगह चुंगी नाका लगा हुआ था, ऑक्ट्ररी पोस्ट, ये निकले, लोगों ने रोक लिया, थांबा थांबा, बताओ क्या लेके जा रहे हो? कहते यार मुगल एम्पर ने परमिशन दी। कहते कौन सी परमिशन, कागज दिखाओ। सो मुगल एम्पर हैज टू गिव देम द रिटन ऑर्डर्स ना, दैट रिटन ऑर्डर इज कॉल्ड दस्तक। दस्तक इज ड्यूटी फ्री ट्रेड पास। जहां तुम्हें कोई ड्यूटी के लिए रोकेगा तुम ये पास दिखाओगे, तुमसे कोई टैक्स नहीं लेगा। एक पंजाबी फिल्म आई थी जीजा जी, जसपाल भट्टी वाली, देखी किसी ने? ओए हो बेटा, किसी दिन देख लेना छुट्टी के दिन। उसमें जसपाल भट्टी इज लाइक सोशल वर्कर बना हुआ है, वेला घूमता रहता है। उसके जीजा जी उसमें है कुग्गी, एंड कुग्गी वाज एक्साइज कमिश्नर ऑफ पंजाब। तो जीजा जी ने अपनी कार्ड पवाए जीजा जी ऑफ एक्साइज सेक्रेटरी, एक्साइज कमिश्नर। वो जिसको अपना कार्ड दे देते हैं वो बस कार्ड दिखाता है, कहीं उसको टैक्स नहीं देना पड़ता, राइट? उस तरह से मुगल एम्पर ने उनको कार्ड दे दिया। नाउ दैट मुगल एम्पर हैज गिवन देम दस्तक, द प्रॉब्लम इज वेरी सिंपल। दस्तक is issued for East India Company, the official trade of East India Company, not for the individual trade of the corrupt officers. If the company buys, I said now we are making pens in India. Company bought 1,000 pens. There were 500 employees. Everyone bought another 5 pen each. Now 2,500 pens have been bought individually, which is not the official trade of company, but you packed all the pens together and evaded duty. Now when the Indians will come to know about this, they will object to it. So Sirajuddaula, Bengal was the hub of trade in India. Sirajuddaula is the Nawab of Bengal. He said, I will not allow this nonsense. No abuse of dastak. British said, then you are an abuse for us. You have to die for this. How can you stop us? We are corrupt British who have come India not just for trade but for a lot of profit individually too. Now that they have made up their mind to remove Siraj, they came to know that the commander-in-chief of the army of Sirajuddaula, Mr. Mir Jafar, is very ambitious. He himself wants to be Nawab but has no plan. So Clive met Mr. Jafar and offered him, I will help you become the Nawab. I will declare war against Siraj. You will just sideline yourself. Do not fight. We will get him killed and then we'll make you the Nawab. And you can have Nawabship and we can have the freedom of trade and freedom to exploit India. Jafar said, Subhanallah. And the plan was, the conspiracy was hatched. And then on that fateful day in June 1757, the British army came, a very small army, British army, perhaps less than 1,000, and Nawab had 50,000 soldiers. When they came to the fields as planned, Mir Jafar moved away with his army. Siraj was left with handful of soldiers. And then the son of Mir Jafar, he killed Sirajuddaula. And Mir Jafar became the puppet Nawab of Bengal, enthroned by the British East India Company with all the benefits for the British. And the British were so clever, they started asking money every second day. Liavi Siraj, cut paise kaka. Tenu gaddi bhaya. Roj British are asking for money. Siraj was like, this man Mir Jafar was tired of giving money to them. One day he said, I'm sorry, I can't give. They said, then you cannot be Nawab. They removed Mir Jafar and made his son-in-law Mir Qasim the new Nawab, and again took money from him in lakhs of rupees. Now Mir Qasim said, then no abuse of dastak, I have paid you. They said, oh, that's the only mistake one can do. Again dastak, again the same issue, even you cannot be Nawab. They removed Mir Qasim and made Mir Jafar again the Nawab. Dude, listen to what we say and enjoy your Nawabship. Why you want to interfere in our trade? They are changing Nawabs like anything, na? As if the Nawabs are the puppets and the British now hold the strings of Bengal. And Bengal is being exploited and destroyed. Now when Mir Jafar has been taken, like he has been denied his office despite he paying money. So look at this. This is Bengal, right? And Mr. Mir Qasim, he has paid money to become Nawab, but British removed him. What he will do? He came to Awadh. Awadh was ruled by at that time Mr. Shujauddullah. He is Nawab Wazir of Awadh. He is not just the Nawab of Awadh. He was the Prime Minister of the Mughal Emperor of that time. That means he was the Prime Minister of India. And the Mughal Emperor was Shah Alam II. Now that Shah Alam II is the Mughal Emperor, he was so weak that instead of sitting in Delhi as the Mughal Emperor of India, he had all the threats from Marathas who have reached up to Rajputana. Delhi के आसपास आके जयपुर जूपुर में बैठे हैं, and their next target is Delhi. So Mughal Emperor was fearful, so he himself has come to Awadh. ये उसके बाद आगे बैठा हुआ है कि भाई देख लेना, रख लेना संभाल के. Now that Mir Qasim came to Awadh, Mughal emperor is here. खूब जमेगा रंग जब मिल बैठेंगे तीन दोस्त. तीनों ने शाम को एक एक गिलास में पानी पिया थोड़ा थोड़ा और कहते देख लेंगे कौन है ब्रिटिश. ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस भी हो जाता है बंदा ना शाम को थोड़ा सा. तो दे थ्री थॉट दैट वी कैन मेक ब्रिटिश फेल इन इंडिया. दे डिक्लेयर्ड वॉर एंड द वॉर इज बैटल ऑफ बक्सर 1764. ब्रिटिश आर्मी केम 1764 बैटल ऑफ बक्सर. तीनों को शाम को हरा दिया. सुबह लड़ाई शुरू हुई, शाम को तीनों ही हार गए. स्टोरी एंड. द सरप्राइजिंग थिंग हियर इज 1764 Mughal emperor of India has been defeated by the British, but the Mughal rule will continue up to 1857. Mughals have been defeated, but the Mughal rule will continue. The reason is simple. British are smart. They said, see, this is your India. Everybody has problem with Mughal. If today I remove Mughal and sit on the throne, everybody have problem with me. Then why to tell them that I have already won India? Let the bloody Mughals rule for a while. We will rule from behind the curtain. Let's defeat them one by one. Let them not unite against that elite. When everybody is defeated, then we will tell them that we are now the new rulers. So British intentionally did not come into picture, despite the fact that they defeated the Mughals in India in 1764, Buxar. After defeating the Mughals, now started the best plan of the British in India. And the best plan, now listen to it and you will be more surprised and little ashamed of like what the British could do to India at that time. Now I have defeated the Mughal emperor, Shah Alam. I said, hey Shah, please come here. Now I asked you a very simple thing, my dear friend. Today you will order in writing that the British East India Company is the Diwan. That means the one who collects the revenue in Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. The Mughal emperor in writing gave the orders that British East India Company is Diwan in Bengal, Bihar, Odisha. They will collect the revenue. You know what will happen from today? These are the farmers. They paid land revenue to the British. British took money from Indians, gave it to the artisans of India, bought their products. Till today, the money from England was coming to buy the products. Some money was coming to India and some things were going out of India. From today, no money will come to India and Indian products will go out of India. Drain of wealth started. From today, India will become poor, England will become richer, and industrial revolution will start. And in India, there is nothing left now. India is going into poverty and Britain is growing exponentially. So one writer said a beautiful line. British conquest of India was a self-financing enterprise. तुम ही पैसा दोगे, वो तुम्हारे पैसे से तुम्हें जीतते जाएंगे. ना वो ट्रेड में इन्वेस्ट करेंगे, ना वो आर्मी में इन्वेस्ट करेंगे. आज के बाद तुम्हारी मनी से सैलरीज भी दे देंगे. सिंपल, बढ़िया रहा ना प्लान, कुछ खर्चा नहीं आज के बाद तो. Now that Mughal emperor said okay to this, वो साइड हो गया. The Nawab of Awadh has also been defeated. So British said, Mr. Shuja, we give you a very good offer as a friend. You will have British army to protect Awadh. We will make army, we will give it to you, we'll lend that army to you. You have to just pay their monthly salaries. And don't pay to soldiers, pay it to us, we will give it to soldiers. But my army, British army will protect Awadh. This is called subsidiary alliance. You pay money, we have our army. My army protect you till the time I tell my army to protect you. The day you go against me, my army will kill you. And in every Indian state, they will have their army from this day onwards. They will defeat every Indian ruler, but will not remove them. Continue being rulers, but have our army in your state. So you are paying the British for the army that the British are creating for the British Indian conquest. They are neither bringing soldiers from Europe, nor they are bringing money from Europe, and they are still winning India. Now that's the most smart thing that the British could do. Subsidiary alliance system, right? We will write a detailed note on it. It will take us good 30 minutes to write detail with all its complexities, right? But now you understand this. Now that the British have started winning India, so what they have done, first they got Bengal, Bihar, Odisha after Plassey and Buxar, then they brought Awadh under their control. Now they share their borders with Marathas, but look at the Maratha empire, it's huge, they are very powerful, so British don't feel like fighting with them. Their main interest at this point of time is Mysore. for three things that they want from Mysore: spices, sandalwood, and the coast. And Hyder Ali is not ready to let British come to his area because he know that they are very clever and very selfish. Because British at any cost wanted to get these things from Mysore. Now they knew it that Marathas and Hyderabad are against Mysore. So British made Marathas and Hyderabad their friend, and with their help they defeated Mysore. Anglo-Mysore Wars. After defeating Mysore, they placed a 5-year-old Hindu prince as the new king of Mysore, with whom they signed subsidiary alliance. Now British army is here at the cost of Mysore. Then they said Marathas are over ambitious, we can't help them. Nizam said, Paji, minta dosti manno. Nizam became their permanent friend, 1798, and then they started war against Marathas. British army, British army, British army. Marathas have nowhere to escape now. So Marathas were defeated in 1818. Now that Marathas were defeated, with Scindia, with Gaikwad, with Bhonsle, with Holkar, they signed subsidiary alliances. Make British Indian Army sit in your territories. Now that they have all these armies, they were surprised to know that Russia is trying to become friends with Afghanistan. Why? So that Russia can attack British Indian Empire. They said, how can Afghanistan play into Russian hands? They now plan to go to Afghanistan to fight a war. They wanted to go to Afghanistan, but they have not got hold of Punjab because Maharaja Ranjit Singh is still ruling as independent king, and he has told British, dare enter my territories. And he always thought that Afghans are my bet. I will take over Afghanistan soon. They have not even got Sindh yet. Sindh is an independent state. How can they go to Afghanistan? So from here to the Makran coast, they are trying to go to Afghanistan. Very difficult thing. They reached Afghanistan, but they couldn't win in Afghanistan. And why? I will explain that in a while. So British thought, oh God, we lost our war. Now how will we show our face to Indians? And Maharaja Ranjit Singh is still very strong. They said, defeat Sindh. Sindh said, what did we do? They said, nothing. Then why you want to defeat us? Because you are the weakest among all. So they defeated Sindh. By winning Sindh, now they have road access to Afghanistan, and they have encircled Punjab from all sides. In future, they can attack Punjab. And then Maharaja Ranjit Singh died, and there was problem in Punjab. They attacked and captured Punjab as well. The British conquest is over. Now let's look at this British conquest here, and then I will ask you how to do all this, right? All right. Then I will give you the time to ask questions. So this is 3 Carnatic wars, followed by Plassey, followed by Buxar, and then British are here. These are the territories. First Anglo-Mysore War, 1767 to 69, second 1780 to 84, and third 1799. And Tipu Sultan died fighting this war. Mysore taken over by British. Done. Then Anglo-Maratha wars. They fought 3 wars. This is one time when the Maratha Empire expanded like this, up to borders of Afghanistan. First Anglo-Maratha War, 1775 to 82. Second, 1803 to 1805. Third, 1817, 1818. Marathas are defeated. British took over their territories. Now, while British were fighting all these wars, the Gurkhas from Nepal, they were very powerful at that time. They also wanted to expand their empire. And the Gurkhas, led by their Thapas, they came up to this Shimla area. And the British were frightened, like how can they come here? So that led to Anglo-Nepalese War in 1814, 15, 16. British forces were sent there. It was a very tough battle. Somehow British survived and they won the war. But they acknowledged the fact that these Gurkhas are very strong and very important soldiers. They signed one such treaty with these Nepalese, Treaty of Sogoli. They said, from today we are the best friends. You will serve us in British Indian Army as well as in British Army. Till date in England there is Gurkha regiment. Till date in India the most important regiment is Gurkha regiment, and this Gurkha regiment was so crucial in your Kargil war as well. So British made it a tradition that Gurkhas will work in India, right? So Anglo-Nepalese war happened under their Thapas. They were moving forward. British controlled them, signed treaty and made them their friends, confining them to their territory and taking some territory from them. Nepal had control over much of the hilly areas of present day Uttarakhand, right? Chamoli, all these regions, they were under Nepalese control. British brought them under their control. Then they had problem with Burma because there is Irrawaddy river, there is so much of wood, timber in Burma, so many other natural resources, and the connectivity to China and far south, far east. They said even Burma has to be occupied now. So first Anglo-Burmese War 1824-26, second Anglo-Burmese War 1852, third Anglo-Burmese War 1885, and they controlled entire Burma as well. Now they have control over entire Burma. They have control over Nepal as friends. Nepal is independent. Burma became part of British India. It was part of India. That is why Mughal emperor was sent in prison to Rangoon after 1857. And Burma remained part of India up to 1935. It was separated from India into an independent country by the Government of India Act 1935. Right? Now they have got Nepal as well as Burma. Eastern side is sorted. Now their eyes are back on Afghanistan. So look at this. British fought their first war with Afghans. First Anglo-Afghan War 1839-42. Second Afghan War 1878-80. Third Anglo-Afghan War 1919. British were the most superior power of the time, world power, superpower. They could not defeat Afghans, right? They could not. Then Soviet Union during Cold War, USSR, strongest player in the game, fought Afghan War 1979-89, 10 years, couldn't defeat Afghanistan. Then America, NATO, and then USA, Operation Enduring Freedom, even they could not defeat Afghanistan. They left Afghanistan in the hands of Taliban and ran away 2 years ago. Afghanistan, the graveyard of empires. कोई भी ले आओ अफगानिस्तान को नहीं हरा सकते. उनका terrain, their geographical terrain and the local like traditions. There are so many groups in Afghanistan, Hamzas and these and those, different groups, ethnic groups. They are dreadful enemies to each other. If there is no outsider, then they all are fighting with them, with each other. The day there is any outsider, they will come. पहले उस खबीज को मारेगा, उसके बाद आपस में खेलेगा. बुदकुसी, आओ इंशाल्लाह. आउटसाइडर आते हैं, सब इकट्ठे हो जाते हैं. फिर जब आउटसाइडर को निकाल देते हैं, फिर आपस में लड़ना शुरू कर देते हैं. ट्राइबल वॉर्स, उनकी तो गेम भी बुदकुशी होती है ना. एक इधर से घोड़ों पे आ रहा है ग्रुप, उधर से आ रहा है, बीच में एक जानवर भाग रहा है, उसको उठा के ले जाते हैं तलवारों पे. वो गेम्स ही ऐसी खेलते हैं. दे आर सो डिफिकल्ट पीपल, यू कैन नॉट डिफीट देम. उनका बच्चा सुबह उठ के पहले पूछता है आज किसको मारना है बताओ. खाना भी बाद में मांगता है. बोलो अम्मी आज किसका सर फोड़ेगा. आज पठान का बच्चा सर फोड़ के घर आएगा अफगान. पता नहीं, गेम ही डिफरेंट है उनकी. सारा दिन लड़ते लुड़ते रहते हैं. सिर्फ एक आदमी है जिनको हरा पाया, महाराजा रणजीत सिंह का सोल्जर हरि सिंह नलवा, और पठानों को कोई नहीं हरा पाया. एंड व्हेन महाराजा रणजीत सिंह सेंट हिज आर्मी लेड बाय हरि सिंह नलवा, ही डिफीटेड द पठान्स, अफगान्स. एंड देन आफ्टर द वॉर एंडेड, अब शाम को वहाँ पे टेंट लगा के दे हैड टू रेस्ट, नेक्स्ट डे आना वापस. सो मिडनाइट हरि सिंह नलवा के टेंट के आसपास कमोशन होगी बहुत ज़्यादा. एंड द एंटायर सिक्योरिटी पैराफर्नेलिया दे स्विंग इनटू एक्शन. यार कमांडर इन चीफ है हरि सिंह नलवा, तो दे सेड कि कोई घुस गया यार अंदर एनिमी कैंप से, तो भागो पकड़ो. एंड जब पकड़ा गया उसको, तो शी वॉज अ वेरी ब्यूटीफुल यंग गर्ल एंड नलवा वॉज ओल्ड एंड वेरी स्कारी फेस. लड़ाइयों में लड़के ना बहुत ही जख्म जुख्म है शरीर पे, पुराने निशान पड़े हुए हैं, एंड वेरी अगली टू लुक एट बट वेरी ब्रेव एंड एथिकली वेरी अपराइट मैन. So he asked like, what for you young girl, damsel, what are you doing here? She said, I want to marry you. He said, why? She said, I have a feeling like if we marry when we have a son, then he will be as good looking as I am and as strong, brave and intelligent as you are. Nalwa said, if it happens the other way, अगर वो मेरे जैसा दिखने में और तेरे जैसा अकल में हो गया, फिर कहनी नहीं, I have a gut feeling that I will have a brave son like you. He said, you want a son like me? Brave son like me? She said, yes. He then touched her feet and said, जा तो आज तो बेबे हुई, I become your son, or you have a son like me. That the story ends. आज के पंजाबी जो होते हैं, हाँ 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 हुणी लो करो, सवेर तक प्लान ना बदल जाए. बीबा जी किथे, बुलाओ भाई नूं बुलाओ, लाओ फेरे लावा लो थे. आज तो यही होना था. वो हरी सिंह नलवा का करैक्टर था, इसलिए पंजाब सर्वाइव कर रहा था। उन्हें मना कर नहीं नहीं ਆਪਾਂ नहीं करना, फिर देखांगे। ਸਾਡੇ ਉਰੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਉੱਥੇ, ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹੁਣੀ ਹੁਣੀ ਹੁਣੀ, ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਠੀਕ, ਮੇਰੇ ਜਿਹੀ ਕਾਕਾ ਹੋਊਗਾ, ਚਿੰਤਾ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ, ਹਨਾ ਬੀਬਾ ਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੈਠੋ, ਮੈਂ ਹੁਣੀ ਬੰਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਬਾਈ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਬੁਲਾ ਕੇ ਲਿਆਇਆ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਨਾ ਮੂਡ ਬਦਲ ਜਾਏ ਸਵੇਰ ਤੱਕ, ਆਪਾਂ ਰਾਤੀ ਲੈਣੀਆਂ ਲਾਵਾਂ। ਫਿਰ then Maharaja Ranjit Singh ji asked him to bring those Afghans who have been defeated, the leaders, the soldiers. So Afghans at that time used to wear a wrap around that tamba कहते जिन्हों, right, simple ऐसी धोती टाइप का वैसे ही बांधते होते थे। So these Pathans handcuffed brought to Maharaja Ranjit Singh Lahore दरबार। और पठान ऐसे खड़े हो गए आगे वहाँ पे ना, तो महाराजा रंजीत सिंह जी said something in Punjabi, though I will try to translate, if you don't understand that's okay, I will still try to make you understand। ਸੋ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਲਵਿਆ ਆ ਜਨਾਨੜੇ ਜੇ ਹਾਰ ਕੇ ਘੂਰੀ ਵੱਟੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਮੀਨ these weak feminine type characters, I'm sorry girls, this is not my words, they've been defeated and they are still like the audacity to look at me like this। ਜਾ ਸੁਥਣਾ ਪਵਾ ਕੇ ਲਿਆ, bring them wear the salwars, that became the Pathani suit। Maharaja Ranjit Singh forced them to wear women like suits, don't wear things like boys। मेरे को ये बात पता नहीं थी, मेरे पास भी पठानी सूट होता था। फिर मुझे किसी को पता चला, मैं वो यार फैंको इसको ये नहीं पहनना होता, अब जिसके पास है पैक कर देना आज जाके, ठीक है, ये हमारे लिए नहीं है भाई, हमने तो पहनाए थे, हम थोड़ा पहनेंगे। दिस इज सो वेरी रेसिस्ट, बट चलो पहनने नहीं होते ये, ठीक है। मेरी वाइफ कहती है आप पे सूट करता है, मैं कहा कोई बात नहीं, अपने भाई को दे दे मेरी तरफ से, मैं तो नहीं पहनूंगा आज के बाद, कुछ भी हो जाए मैं नहीं पहनूंगा, नहीं सूट करता, मैं करी जान दे, कोई फर्क नहीं पैंदा, ठीक है गाइस। सो दिस इज हाउ अफगान वॉर्स हैपेंड। तो अफगानिस्तान जीत लिया इन्होंने, जीता ही नहीं, आई मीन ट्राई मारी, फिर व्हेन दे रियलाइज कि दिस इज नॉट पॉसिबल, वो मेरी वाइफ तो नहीं कहीं आए ऑनलाइन, कभी कभी वो मेरे लेक्चर में ऑनलाइन आ जाती है, फिर मैं घर जाता हूँ तो मुझे पूछती है आ भी पंजाबी करा तेरा हिसाब सीधा आज मैं। सो दे सेड भाई अफगानिस्तान तो नहीं जीत पा रहे हैं, काम करो लाइन लगा दो, बॉर्डर बना दो। ब्रिटिश इंडिया और अफगानिस्तान के बीच में दुरंत लाइन वॉज ड्रॉन, इधर बना दिया अफगानिस्तान, पाकिस्तान तो था ही नहीं अभी, तो इंडिया हो गया, ब्रिटिश इंडिया। बट ब्रिटिश आर ब्रिटिश, हाउ कैन दे गिव एवरीथिंग टू समवन। लाइन ऐसे लगती होती है ना, इनके पास पंजाबी में तो फुट्टा नहीं था, इनके पास इनकी सीधी लाइन लगती नहीं थी। जैसे जो बलूचिस्तान है वो तो पठान एरिया है अफगानिस्तान का, वो पाकिस्तान में कैसे आ गया। नाउ दैट एक्सप्लेन द फ्री बलूच मूवमेंट। बलूचिस्तान आज पाकिस्तान से लड़ जा रहा है, हम तुम्हारे साथ क्यों रहे, कभी इसका पता उधर जाएगा, अपने भाई से लड़ेगा, तुमसे क्यों लड़ेंगे, हम भी तालिबान बनेंगे, हम उधर जाएंगे। तो बलूचिस्तान इज द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम फॉर पाकिस्तान टुडे। बलूचिस्तान मानता नहीं पाकिस्तान में रहने को, और जैसे जैसे हमें पता लगता है बलूचिस्तान नहीं मानता, हम कहते हैं बहुत अच्छी बात है, बताओ कोई हेल्प चाहिए, वो इधर तंग कर रहे हैं, हम थोड़ी हेल्प कर ही सकते हैं। वी आर वेरी गुड, वी डू नॉट क्रिएट एनी टेरर, हम तो सिर्फ खाना ही दे देते हैं बस बलूच वालों को भी, चलो खाना तो खा लो, तुम थक गए होगे लड़ते हुए, वी डोंट हेल्प देम अदर वेज, राइट। सो ये लग गई दुरंत लाइन, अब ये सेटल हो गया। फिर एंग्लो सिख वॉर्स हुई 45-46, फर्स्ट एंग्लो सिख वॉर, पंजाब खुद ही उस टाइम पे हारा था, आई विल टेल यू हाउ। एंड सेकंड एंग्लो सिख वॉर 48-49, महाराजा रंजीत सिंह जी की डेथ हो चुकी थी, एंड खालसा आर्मी को समझ नहीं आ रही क्या करना है, एंड दलीप सिंह 5 ईयर ओल्ड बॉय हैज बिकम द न्यू महाराजा ऑफ पंजाब, एंड 5 साल का बच्चा क्या ही करे। रानी जिंदा हिज मदर, शी इज द रीजेंट, और पंजाब में सारे अपने मजे कर रहे हैं, किसी को समझ नहीं आ रही है। 8 बजे के बाद सारे अंग्रेजी बोलनी शुरू कर देते थे, आई नो लेट देम नो। अंग्रेज कह रहे ये क्या कर रहे हैं भाई, क्या हो गया इनको 8 बजे के बाद, अचानक सारा पंजाब इंग्लिश बोलने आता है। इफ दे आर सो हैप्पी टू स्पीक इंग्लिश, लेट देम बी पार्ट विद अस। पंजाबी सेड बुर्रा कम चीयर्स, तो आपस में लड़ पड़े, पता नहीं लगा, अंग्रेजों को भी नहीं पता लगा कैसे लड़ाई हो गई। पंजाबी कह रही थी लै पहल करनी दूध छड़नी नहीं वीर असी, अंग्रेज कह रहे असी कुछ किया ही नहीं, कहते लै इस तो पहले तो सीखो असी आ रहे हैं। इन्होंने अपने आप ही अटैक टू कर दिए, ब्रिटिश वर लाइक सरप्राइज्ड, हमने कहा भी कुछ नहीं, दे आर कमिंग टू फाइट। एंड यू नो व्हेन द ब्रिटिश डिड देयर रेकी इन पंजाब, लड़ाई से पहले उनको मैसेज दिया है लड़ने मत जाना। कुछ बंदे देखे थे सुबह पेड़ तोड़ के खा रहे थे, वो दातुन कर रहे थे पंजाब में। मैं यार ये तो कुछ भी कर देते हैं, आते हैं टड़क पेड़ पे हाथ मारते हैं करके निकल जाते हैं, केश खुले छड्डे हुए सी, कहना पता नहीं क्या ही करी जाते हैं, कड़े पहने हुए हैं, है ना। सुबह सुबह सरदार जी सब केश धो के बाहर घूम रहे थे, दातुने कर रहे हैं। भाई अंग्रेज कह रहे ये कौन है, क्या चाहते हैं, ये क्या हो गया, कैसे लड़ोगे इनके साथ, कहते पता ही नहीं जी। डरे हुए थे एक बार तो अंग्रेज, उनके पास इंटेलिजेंस इनपुट थी कि दे आर वेरी वेरी बारबेरियंस, they can do anything. कहने they have a unique slogan, जो बोले सो निहाल है, सारी के साथ बोलते हैं सत श्री अकाल, सारे लड़ पैंदे बाद चो, पता नहीं लगता. British said no, don't fight them, they are very dangerous. And then somebody told no, they are very sweet. And then they came and they defeated Punjab. Kashmir was part of Maharaja Ranjit Singh's empire. They asked Punjab to pay 3 crore 60 lakh rupees indemnity. Punjab did not have this much of money. So Hari Singh's ancestor, Gulab Singh, he said, okay, I will pay you some money. Can I have independent Kashmir? British said, कौन जाएगा इतनी ऊपर, इतनी ठंड में, ले ले यार, रख ले. And they gave Kashmir as an independent state to Gulab Singh. Otherwise, it was part of Punjab. Now imagine Punjab. Entire Pakistan up to Ghazi Ismail Khan, Ghazi Dera Khan, right? वो अफगानिस्तान बॉर्डर तक महाराजा रंजीत सिंह जी की एम्पायर. कश्मीर महाराजा रंजीत सिंह, हरियाणा था नहीं, हिमाचल था नहीं, सारा पंजाब था ना, पूरा पाकिस्तान पंजाब, इंडिया वाला पंजाब, हरियाणा वाला पंजाब. इट वाज वन सच ह्यूज पंजाब. पहले इसको महाराजा रंजीत सिंह जी के बाद ब्रिटिश ने तोड़ा, फिर इसको बाद में पाकिस्तान ने तोड़ा, फिर हम पंजाबी ने खुद ही तोड़ दिया पंजाबी सूबा. कदे कड्डो हरियाणा हिमाचल बाहर, अपन नहीं चाहिए, इतना सा रह गया पंजाब. It was this huge Punjab. And we celebrate that day, 1st of November, Punjab Day. It should be now not celebrated. You would feel bad on that day. ये सारा पंजाब वंड मारे अपना. Done? पर चलो कोई गल नहीं, छुट्टी मिलती है, बड़ी खुशी होती है ना. Employees की खुशी हो जाती है, छुट्टी मिल गई एक दिन दी और. So this is how British conquered India. हो गया clear? Now that you have conquered India, you have become the masters of India. Now you have few new challenges. First challenge, very simple challenge. I rule over this India, different areas, different language, different religion, different culture. How to understand you? मैं इधर जाता हूँ कुछ और ही चल रहा है, इधर आता हूँ कुछ और ही चल रहा है, किसी की लैंग्वेज एक सी नहीं है, किसी का कल्चर ऐसा नहीं है, रिलीजन तुम्हारे सबके डिफरेंट है. एक कह रहा है चढ़ दे सूरज करके पाठ करना, जो कह रहा है नहीं उधर पीठ करके इबादत करेंगे. ब्रिटिश कह रहे क्या हो गया, संडे को जाना होता है, ऐसे करना होता है, काम खत्म हो जाता है. कहते नहीं, रोज सुबह करना होता है, उठ के सुखासन भी करना होता है, रात को सुबह प्रकाश भी करना होता है, ठाकुर जी को भोग भी लगाना होता है. उनको समझ नहीं आ रही है कि आई चली जा रहा है. तो ब्रिटिश सेड ओके, लेट्स लर्न इंडिया, लेट्स लर्न योर लैंग्वेजेस. वॉरेन हेस्टिंग established Calcutta madrasa. All the English officers will go to madrasa. They will learn Urdu, Persian, Arabic. They will learn Quran. They will learn Shariat. Then Banaras Hindu College, स्कूल खोलेंगे वहाँ पे, संस्कृत स्कूल. Go learn Sanskrit, read Vedas, read Upanishads, read Manu Samriti. Try understand what kind of society is it, what they believe. To better understand them, read their popular literature. कालिदास पढ़ो, बड़ी प्यारी लव स्टोरीज हैं. मालविका अग्निमित्रम, अभिज्ञान शकुंतलम. Read everything. They establish Asiatic Society of Bengal. Translate Indian literature into English literature. Read it, understand this society. And when they understood the society, they were so smart. They said, oh, Sanskrit and English, so close affinity. You call it bratra, we call it brother. You call it matra, we call it mother. That means we were one at one point of time. These Aryans, they were very fair like us, right? Aryans, they came from Central Asia. We also came from Central Asia. We are brothers, man. And then when you came to India, you lost the entire knowledge. When you came, you were so knowledgeable, you wrote Vedas, and then you stayed here. You lost all the knowledge. You were defiled. Now you have no knowledge. See, God sent us to make you again the great Indians from Great Britain. Then started the journey. Now if you want to become great, learn English. You have to learn English. And then they said, see, you have to understand. If you will not learn English, then how will you get modernized? And amongst themselves, the British are saying, if they won't learn English, how will we convert them to Christianity? If they won't learn English, how will we change their taste? When they get up in the morning, they ask for a glass of milk or lassi. We want them to have cappuccino. Because now from England, we will bring the new products and the market will open up if the Indians change their culture. They wear khadaएं, the wooden shoe, and we are making Nike and Adidas. Who will wear this? धोती जी पाके घूम जाते हैं. Who will wear the Pepe jeans? Who will buy the Burberry shirts from us? Like, you have to change their thinking process now. Teach them. Or in the name of modernity, they are going to befool you. For example, the easiest example, they came and they said, क्या कर रहे हो? You had some common salt like that pahadi namak, black salt, and you were cleaning your teeth with it. It's very, very good. If you use it now regularly and once a week you use lemon to like brush your teeth, oh bhai, एनामल स्ट्रॉन्ग भी देगा और वाइट भी देगा, बट उन्होंने बोला यार दिस इज सो अनसिविलाइज यार, पेस्ट क्लोज अप, गर्ल्स विल कम क्लोजर, दे विल डांस विद यू एंड यू स्टार्टेड डूइंग इट व्हेन द मार्केट सैचुरेटेड सेड तुम्हारे टूथपेस्ट में नमक है, वो पहले नमक ही तो कर रहे थे, अब दोबारा नमक क्या करना है ना। आजकल वो कॉलगेट नीम भी ले आए, हम भी तो नीम ही करते होते थे। सो इन द नेम ऑफ मॉडर्नाइजिंग यू दे वर टेकिंग योर मनी, एक्सट्रैक्टिंग योर मनी एंड यू फेल इनटू द ट्रैप। मुझे आज तक एक बात समझ नहीं आई, मैं इंग्लैंड जब भी गया आई सॉ पीपल्स लाइक coming to Goa, coming to other countries, Asian, African countries, you know why? They do not get adequate sunlight there. In Europe, they do not get adequate sunlight. And then they come here and they say like, इतने white थोड़ा होने चाहिए यार, tall, dark, handsome होता है, इंडिया चलते हैं, टेन हो गए वापस आएंगे, थोड़े से अच्छे लगेंगे। हमारे यहाँ पे फेयर एंड लवली दे गए, हम ठीक तो थे, टॉल डार्क हैंडसम ही थे हम लोग, फिर फेयर एंड लवली क्यों दे गए? अपने देश में तो लगाते नहीं है, वहाँ पे टैन क्रीम लगाते हैं, काले होने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, थोड़ी सी भी थोड़े ठीक तो लगे, ऐसे रहता है कच्चे ही लगे। सॉरी फॉर द रेसिज्म, आई एम सो सॉरी। ठीक है, तो भाई परेशान बेवकूफ़ बना रहे हैं हमें। अच्छा मुझे एक चीज़ बताओ, फेयर एंड लवली हमारे देश में इतनी बेच गए, अफ्रीका में क्यों नहीं बेची? चली नहीं वहाँ पे, क्योंकि उसका काम ही नहीं है उसका, ये पिगामेंट कितना चेंज करा लोगे तुम, और वैसे भी फेयर होना ही क्यों है? व्हाई यू वांट टू लुक वाइट? हु सेड दैट वाइट इज सुपीरियर? Who said English is superior? Why we consider it today that if I cannot speak English, I am not intelligent? Why my vernacular language, Punjabi, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Odia, why they are not equally intelligent people if they cannot speak English? एक दिन मेरे घर पे कोई गेस्ट आया था, मेरी बेटी की फ्रेंड के फादर आए हुए थे अपनी वाइफ के साथ, और मैं थोड़ा लेट पहुंचा। भाई मैं जब वो गया, वो इतने परेशान साइड पे बैठे हुए, मैंने जाकर मैं होर की हाल है भाजी, कहना शुक्र है कोई गल करन जो गाए, दो अंग्रेजी बोली जाती सी, मैं तो समझ ही नहीं आ रहा सी। मैं कोई नहीं भाजी बैठो, आप पैग लाने कोई गल नहीं। बड़ा खुश हुआ बंदा, कहता हाँ हूँ ठीक है, साह आया मैनू, कहता why you have to speak English to prove that you are intelligent, you are knowledgeable, you can speak your like vernacular and you can still be intelligent. No Chinese, no German, no French, no Italian will speak English, no Russian will speak English, they will speak their languages now. Then why we see this is ingrained in us. The British, while ruling over us, created few myths and we accepted those myths forever. If you are not fair, you are not intelligent, good looking. If you do not speak English, you are not intelligent. And this is cultural conquest of India. Along with the political conquest, they culturally conquered us. They proved us inferior in our own right. The way we look, it is inferior. The way we speak, it is inferior. The way we believe in God, it is inferior. Everything that they did was superior. Until date, you believe in it. And I have to explain this in English. That it is not good to speak English. I have to explain this in English. Look at the pain. The British did it to us. But at the same time, as there are always two sides to a coin, had there been no English introduced in India, there would have been no unity in India. How could people of Punjab understand the problems of people of Madras or for that case Maharashtra? वो आके तुम्हें पंजाबी कहते हैं आता माजी सटक ली, मैंने क्या की होया, अब बड़ा अजय देओल बनया फिरदा है, तुमने लड़ पड़ना था आपस में, है ना। जसपिंदर भल्ले ने जाके बंगाल जाना थी, मैं तब बंदू पुल्ला ना खरोट, मैंने कहा ये क्या हो गया अब तुम्हें, तो कुछ भी चलता, फिर तुम्हें समझ ही नहीं आनी थी। Had the British not been here, modern transportation would have not been here, trains ना होती, मिलते कैसे? How would you have traveled to far off places in India? मॉडर्न ट्रांसपोर्ट भी तो वही देके गए ना, बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट था ये भी। सोचो ट्रेन्स ना होती, बॉम्बे में कांग्रेस का फर्स्ट सेशन प्लान हो जाता, सबको इनविटेशन आया था, पंजाब में लाला जी को इनविटेशन आ जाता, लाला जी साइकिल पे निकल पड़ते, लाहौर तो चलना किथे बंबे की करन सैशन लान कांग्रेस का, किन्ने बुलाया है? दादा भाई नारो जी ने, लाओ जी। लाहौर तो निकले पहले पैंचर लवाया, अगे चले टल्ली गिर गई, फिर अगे चले लाइट बुझ गई, डैनिमो ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲਵਾਈ ਸੀ, ਕਰਦੇ 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 ਔਖੇ ਸੌਖੇ ਜੇ ਕਿਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਲ ਚੜ ਗਿਆ ਜਵਾਨਾ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜੀ 1992 ਆ ਗਿਆ। ਉਹ ਦਾਦਾ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਦਾਦੇ ਦਾ ਪੋਤਾ ਵੀ ਗਿਆ ਹੁਣ ਤਾਂ। कैसे बनती कांग्रेस? It would have been very difficult to make this national organization had there been no modern means of transportation and communication. चिट्ठी कैसे पहुंची सबको? गाने गाते रहते दादा भाई नारो जी कबूतर जा जा जा, किसी के पास कोई चिट्ठी ना पहुंचती। So everything has two sides to it ना, good and bad. Had British not been here, there would have been no consolidation because British bought administrative unification on all the parts that were broken. जब British ने सारा इंडिया जीत लिया, all over India there was British flag now. There were British officers, British rules. Now you all feel one. You know why? You have a common enemy. You have to fight the common enemy. You became one. You forgot your regional differences. You forgot your personal problems. You said these British are the reason for all the poverty, all the sufferings. Let's first remove them from India. Then we'll think what we have to do. You fought. This is called the national space. It's this national space was created. You forgot your regional identities for a while, and then you became independent. The moment the British left, South India said, if you put Hindi as your official language, we don't want to live in this India. The very moment you became independent, the regional identities revived. So it was nationalism because you have a common enemy against whom you had to fight. I'm not saying that there was no sense of nationalism in India before the British advent, but it was always in its regional sense. At the subcontinental level, it came with these common things. Clear? अब बताओ यहाँ तक कोई doubt है? Anything that you want me to explain? Anything anyone want to ask, please tell me. Deepak, if you disagree that Gurkha is one most important, it is one of the best. So I think you should also try meet the Sikh regiment and the Rajputana rifles and the Jat regiment. I hope you will agree with me after that. All right, Deepak, Pathania ji. Thanks, Krishma. Why British attack Afghanistan? Because Sukhman, they never wanted Russia to enter into Afghanistan. Who is Rajput? That I will tell some other day. What was the name of that girl who wanted to marry Hari Singh Nalwa? What do you want to know about that? Nobody is going to ask you, Navneet, that kind of a question. I just gave you a story to understand. Nobody gonna ask you a question in mains or pre. Done? All right. There are 4 Anglo-Maratha wars, sir. There are 3. Sunil, and the 4th one is not Anglo-Maratha war, that is Pindari war, in which they had to fight against Salman Khan. हाँ मैं पिंडारी हूँ. Umang, that is Baluchistan में Durand line, D-U-R-A-N-D. Sir, why there is every time use Anglo? It is short term for English. The main thing, क्या चाहिए थी ब्रिटिश को इंडिया से? पैसे. Sir, from where did divide and rule came? Sukhman, did and came, wrong English, did come, right? Did के साथ first form, वो मैं अभी बताता हूँ. All right, चलो. All right. Now there are wars, right? And every war is followed by a treaty. Treaty of Alinagar, Treaty of Allahabad, Treaty of Purandar, Vadgaon, Salbai, Shrangapatnam, Lahore, Amritsar. We will write about these treaties as well. Now that British have won India, they have divided India. On western side, I told you they had Durand line, right, with Afghanistan. On eastern side with China, they will have McMahon line. While fighting against Burma, Nepal, they will reach up to Tibet and then they will draw Johnson and McMahon lines. So these are the lines, McMahon line with China, right? Now that they have got all this empire, British Indian Empire, they are bordered by Russia and China. Rest Burma is British Indian Empire, Pakistan, Afghanistan is used as buffer by them so that Russia must not move ahead. Tibet is occupied by British occupied territory. So China is nowhere coming to attack India from this side. So it is a very protected British Indian Empire. Done. Now that they have a huge empire, this huge empire is divided into 2 parts. The pink is princely states. There is Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir. There are so many states in Punjab, Maharaja of Patiala, Maharaja of Nabha, Maharaja of Faridkot. There are Baluchistan states, Bahawalpur, Rajputana, Ajmer, Mewad, Rajputana, Central India. Then this is Eastern India. Then we have Nizam of Hyderabad, ruler in Madras, Kolhapur, Goa. These are different parts, right? And the yellow part is British India. The British rule over this India. Now with the princes of India, these princes, there were 562 Indian princes, princely states. You know what the British did? They said to all these princes, let's sign subsidiary alliance one by one, not at one time. All of them had not only to maintain British army in their territory, British Indian army, with every Indian ruler, there was a British officer called resident. Now, what is the role of this resident? This is very interesting to know. She asked me how the divide and rule came. Now, I'm going to explain that divide and rule. And Deepak Pathania, have you Have you left the class? And if you are there, please reply. So we have a British resident. Now what is the job of this resident? Let's take a small example to understand this idea. The idea is, now look at this. We have one Scindia among the Rajput Marathas, one Holkar, one Bhonsle and one Gaikwad. They are, let's say, 4 main leaders of Marathas. After defeating them, British signed one individual subsidiary alliance with them. In all these states, British stationed their army. Now they are isolated, they are subordinated to the British because British army has been placed around them. They are in subordination to British. Then with each of them, there is a British resident. Now what is the role of resident? The resident will be taking care of your foreign policy, external affairs. That means if Scindia wants to ask anything to Holkar, he cannot directly talk. He has to tell his resident to talk to the resident of Holkar, and this resident will talk to Holkar and reply back to Scindia. Now this is divide. Simple divide, na? That no 2 Indian rulers can talk to each other. This is called subordinate isolation. This was the British policy which we call divide and rule originally. Subordinate isolation. Now imagine a situation when one fine day Scindia wants to declare war against British and he wants to seek help from other Maratha brothers. Is it possible anymore? Will Scindia ask his British resident to talk to the residents of Holkars and Gaikwads? Let's plan together a fight against British. How is it possible? So British very cleverly played this divide and rule in the shape of subsidiary alliances. Now when they planned these subsidiary alliances, I will come to this map later on. This is how they created the subsidiary alliances with the very important kings: Awadh, Scindia, Peshwa, Gaikwad, Hyderabad, Mysore, Tanjore, so many other states. But these are the major examples. Now imagine a thing. If at regular intervals, even if these are the places where British have stationed their army, rest of India is already under the British control. Now if there is a problem in Bengal, Bihar and Odisha, army from Awadh can also come to help them. Scindia can also send his army to help them, right? If there is problem in Madras territory, Mysore, Hyderabad, Tanjore, they will also send their armies, and British are not required to even bear any cost for this. When there will be revolt of 1857, British will ask all these men to send their army to crush the revolt. So they are using your men to defeat you in the subsequent battles. So this is how the subsidiary alliance paved way for them. It created that comfort for them, convenience for them. Now that they have signed the subsidiary alliance and made all British residents sit in different parts of India, they politically and militarily control India. Now, because they are the masters, they will introduce their land revenue system in India. So the 3 major land revenue systems that they introduce. Now to remember this fact, that what was this land revenue system all about? They started from Bengal. They first won Bengal through Plassey and Buxar. They brought permanent settlement of Bengal, introduced by Lord Cornwallis in 1793. Then from here they came to Mysore, South India. They introduced Roytwadi by Thomas Munro in Madras, and the same system was introduced in Bombay, because after Madras they won Bombay. In the end they won North India, Punjab and Central India. So they introduced Mahalwadi system under William Bentinck in northwestern provinces and north of India, right? So these are 3 different methods: permanent settlement, Roytwadi, Mahalwadi. Permanent settlement is called Zamindari system. In this, there will be one landlord who will pay to the British, not the peasant but the landlord. In Roytwadi, Royt, R-Y-O-T means peasant. The peasant himself will pay to the British, no middleman. Whereas in Mahalwadi, the village as a group will pay to the British. Entire village is collectively to pay, right? These 3 methods are so exploitative, so very exploitative, that it is not just the revenue now, because the demand is so heavy, the people are forced to take loans from moneylenders. So the exploitation will double. You have to pay heavy taxes and heavy interest on the loans that you take. Because of this, because agriculture is becoming less productive. Now, why agriculture is becoming less productive? You know what British did? They destroyed India's cottage industry. Why they destroy India's cottage industry? So that the British industrial goods can be sold in India. Now that your cottage industry has been destroyed, there are no avenues of employment. Everyone by default is to do agriculture. Entire India depends on agriculture. Because everyone depends on agriculture, agriculture cannot be profitable because it is sustenance agriculture. I grow food for myself. Everyone is growing food for himself. Then who will sell it in the market? So we live on very basic needs, very simple life, close to nature and very simple life, right? Now that India was dependent solely on agriculture, but British were not very happy with this even. They said, see, you Indians, you grow wheat, you grow rice, you grow barley, maize, गर्मियां आंदियां तुसीं ये खाने वाले सर्दियां दी कणक दी जगह मक्की दी रोटी खा लेंदे हो सारा दिन खाते रहते हो सारा लैंड खाने पे लगा दिया तुमने तो बिल्कुल नहीं करना वी नीड यू टू ग्रो कॉफी टी शुगर केन जूट रबर ओपियम इंडिगो अफीम नहीं खानी चाइना को क्या बेचेंगे हम चाइना को तो मारना इन्होंने जाके भी अफीम खाने के लिए ओपियम वॉर्स होगी चाइना के साथ 1800s में तो चाइना कहते हैं हमने नहीं खानी खानी पड़ेगी कैसे नहीं खानी पता कितने मजे आते हैं खा गए सेट हो जाते हो थोड़ी सी खा गए एंड सुबह से शाम तक काम करते हो तभी ग्रो करोगे इतनी सी काली सी लेके बस आधा घंटा धूप में फिर देखो लाल हो जाओगे बिल्कुल तो चाइना कह रहे नहीं खानी है खानी पड़ेगी हम बोल रहे हैं चाइना ने मना किया 2 बार बॉशिंग वॉर्स हुई मारा चाइना को पटक पटक खाओ अफीम खाओ अफगानिस्तान से लेके पंजाब तक सब में अफीम उग रही है पाकिस्तान से आगे उधर जा रही है जिसको तुम आज कहते हो गोल्डन ट्रायंगल है ना सब उनके बनाए हुए हैं क्रिश्चियन सब उनके बनाए हुए हैं सब बना के चले गए इधर भी अफीम लगा गए उधर भी अफीम लगा गए कहते बाकी आगे धीरे धीरे बताएंगे कैसे चेंज करना है इसको क्वालिटी इंप्रूव होती जाएगी धीरे धीरे चिट्टा हो जाएगा काले से चिट्टे तक की जर्नी गोरों को बहुत आती है वैसे भी वाइट इज द ट्रेंड ब्लैक इज नो मोर रिक्वायर्ड नाउ दैट दे forced us to grow these commercial cash crops which can be sold in the market. Imagine a situation. India is one such country which is dependent on agriculture. Agriculture is dependent on monsoon. And when you grow, one season you grow good crop and next season there is less rain. There is a situation of drought, but there will be no famine because you have buffer with you. पिछले साल का अनाज पड़ा था खा लोगे यार बच गए ना. Now that you grow more of the cash crops, if there is drought, it will lead to famine. अकाल तो पड़ेगा ही पड़ेगा. On one side there are high taxes. On the other hand there is exploitation by the money lender. Then there is forced commercialization of agriculture and there is repeated outbreak of famines. जनता भूखी मर रही है. अब जनता परेशान ही होगी ना. Out of sheer frustration क्या होगा? Revolts. Now who will revolt? The peasants, the tribals. So these systems will force Indians to revolt against the British. So subsidiary alliances, then this land revenue system, then Lord Dalhousie came and this man Lord Dalhousie, he introduced doctrine of lapse exactly on the same lines as subsidiary alliances have been signed. He said, see, we protect you. If your king dies, we think that adopted sons cannot become the kings. We will take over those territories into British India. So if you do not have your own son, natural heir, adopted sons cannot succeed. And he took away Jhansi, Jaipur, Awadh, Udaipur, Nagpur, Satara, Bhagat, all states were taken over. Now kings are not happy, farmers are not happy, tribals are not happy. 1857 is already there. Everybody will revolt against you. So these are the centers of the revolt of 1857. In Delhi, Bahadur Shah Zafar and Bhagat Khan revolted. In Banaras, Liaquat Ali, Kanpur, Nana Sahib, Tantia Tope, Azimul Khan, Jhansi Rani Lakshmi Bai. And these are the British officers who came and defeated them. Within 1.5 to 2 years, the revolt was badly crushed. These are important locations of revolt. Remember one thing about the revolt. British say that main centers were in central India, right? There was no revolt in South India. Remember the fact, British were the rulers at that time. If they want to hide something, they can easily hide. They will not let all the history be recorded as it is. Why should they tell you that all over India there was a revolt? They would try to minimize the damage that can be caused to the British reputation in India. Why should they tell you that everywhere against us the people revolted? So they intentionally confined the area and never let us know that to what an extent the revolt was popular. They try to always prove that because there was a rumor that the new Enfield rifles that have been introduced and the new cartridges that are to be used in those new Enfield rifles, they were rumored to be made with the fat of cow and pig, and that is why the soldier revolted. No, it was not soldier who revolted. Every peasant was upset, every landlord was upset, every ruler was upset, everyone was upset in India. The artisans were, the cottage industry men were, the handicraftsmen were, they all were upset. Why should only the soldiers revolt? Everybody did revolt against the British, right? It was a very popular revolt, but British did not tell us. These are some of the important tribal revolts, like the Chors revolted, Pahadiyas, Bhils, Ho, Khons, Khasis, Kolis, Singpos, Kols, Koyas, Santhals, and Nakadas. These are the social reform movements now. Let's try understand. They introduced English in India. They said we are superior culture, civilization. They said we believe in equality, we believe in justice, we believe in rights. Some of the Indians, obviously like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, they started learning English language. They read the English literature. They said, wow, wonderful. Agreed, you are great. Agreed, we have many problems. There is sati system, there is child marriage, there is ban on widow remarriage, there is caste system. All right. You say God sent you to India, improve India now. Start improving it. Pass the laws and remove these evils from India. If you think they are bad, you are the masters, you rule over us now, then do the task. God sent you to make us civilized, make us civilized. Pass the legislations. Now the British are trapped. If they won't pass it, the white man theory is not justified. If they pass it, these legislations, the conservative section will revolt. Try ban sati in India. The Indians will revolt against you because they believe it is divine. भगवान ने बोला था सती करना होता है, लड़की को जलाना बहुत जरूरी है. सॉरी बेटा मैं नहीं कह रहा, मेरी 2 बेटियां, राइट. विडो रिमैरिज नहीं करनी होती भाई, होती नहीं है इंडिया में, रिवाज ही नहीं है. ईश्वर चंद्र विद्यासागर was in love with a widow. His mother did not agree. उसने एक्ट पास करा दिया, कहते मैं कराता हूँ ये एक्ट. किसने बोला कि नहीं लाउड होता, मैं एक्ट बनवा देता हूँ. Then he married his son to a widow as well. कहता है ऐसे कैसे नहीं शादी करते विडो से. एंड ईश्वर वाज अ टीचर. जब उसने विडो के साथ शादी शुदी की, वो प्रिंसिपल बन गया, उसकी प्रमोशन हो गई. नाउ देयर वाज अ कर्स कि जो विडो से मैरिज करेगा उसको कोई बेनिफिट नहीं होंगे, इसकी प्रमोशन हो गई. सारे विडो ढूंढ रहे थे. कहना यार पागल बना रखा मम्मियों ने, विडो शादी होती, विडो शादी प्रमोशन होती है. कहते विडो है नहीं, कहते बनाओ फिर, हमें क्या पता, हम तो विडो से शादी करेंगे. मारो 2-4 महल्ले के बंदे मार दो, शादी हम साथ में सोशल रिफॉर्मर बनेंगे, स्टेटस गेन करेंगे, साथ में प्रमोशन गेन करेंगे. खुश थे सारे, कहने चक दो कितना गवांडी, कोई गल नहीं देखी जाएगी, साथ में परोपकारी लोग बनेंगे हम. देखो मैंने भी विडो से शादी की. ये सोशल रिफॉर्म हो गए. सोशल रिफॉर्मर्स ने ना एक ट्रेंड सेट कर दिया. नाउ लुक एट द ट्रेंड. एज राम मोहन रॉय, आई वेंट टू मिस्टर बेंटिक. I said, sir, can you please ban sati? He said, yes, and he did it. As Ishwar, I met Lord Dalhousie. I said, sir, can you allow widow remarriage? He said, yes, and he did it. Then as Keshav Chandra Sen, I met Northbrook. I said, sir, can you ban child marriage in India? He said, yes, and they did it. Now there is a tradition, there is a trend that has started. You go, you talk to them politely, you ask them, and they will do it. So you had that courage now. You said, sir, can you introduce elections in India? He said, yes, thank you. Then they came, sir, can we contest elections, Indians? They said, yes. Sir, can we become ministers? They said, yes. Sir, can you quit India? Yes. So it created a trend ना, पहले social reform करा लिया, फिर political reform करा लिया. अगर सोचो मैं जाके बोलता as राम मोहन रॉय, sir, can you ban sati? Hey, bloody Indian, get lost, don't come back. अब तुम जाते इलेक्शन कराने के लिए, तुम्हें चपेड़े पड़ जानी है, तो तुम जाती ना मांगने के लिए. Because the social reformer did their task, they proved a point that British agreed to reform. The political reformers went ahead. Now we have to understand how the Congress came into being, right? Very interesting thing, how the Congress. हाँ जी, क्या ये सर समझ नहीं आ रहा, दोबारा बोल दो. ये वाला, हाँ बेटा, ये थियोसॉफिकल सोसाइटी अमेरिकन ने बनाई थी, बाद में एनी बेसेंट इंडिया आई थी. थियोसॉफिकल सोसाइटी अमेरिका में कर्नल ऑलकुट ने और रशिया की मैडम ब्लेवेस्की ने बनाई थी. देन दे सेंट एनी बेसेंट टू इंडिया. उसने मद्रास दियार में आके अपना हेडक्वार्टर बनाया था. गलती नहीं है, ठीक है, और देख लेना इसमें. अच्छा, अब क्या हुआ, बिकॉज इंग्लिश एजुकेशन हैज स्टार्टेड इन इंडिया, so many of you will like start educating yourself in English, study English as a language. देन यू परहैप्स पास द हाईएस्ट डिग्री इन इंडिया पॉसिबल, मान लेते हैं तब सिर्फ 10th या 12th होती है इंडिया में। अब तुम्हारे पास थोड़े रिसोर्सेज हैं, यू आर लिटिल रिसोर्सफुल, तो तुम्हें ग्रेजुएशन तो करनी है ना, तो कहाँ जाओगे? लंदन। सो यू मैनी ऑफ यू वेंट टू लंदन फ्रॉम पंजाब, फ्रॉम मद्रास, फ्रॉम बंगाल, फ्रॉम महाराष्ट्र, फ्रॉम एवरी पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया, यू एंडेड अप बीइंग इन इंग्लैंड। सब पढ़ रहे हो ऑक्सफोर्ड, ऑक्सफोर्ड, कैम्ब्रिज, कुम्ब्रिज में, कहीं भी पढ़ रहे हो, किंग्स कॉलेज में, क्वींस में, सब ग्रेजुएट कर रहे हो, शाम को मिल जाते हो, कबूतर देखने आ जाते हो वहाँ पे, आओ आओ, है ना, ठीक है। अब तुम जब सारे वहाँ मिलते हो, बातचीत होती है ना, सो व्हाट्स द प्लान मैन, व्हाट आर यू अप टू? जब तुम ग्रेजुएट हो जाते हो और फिर तुम आपस में बात करते हो, चलो यार क्या बनना चाहते हो लाइफ में? वेरी गुड। तुम क्या बनना चाहती? वेरी गुड। तुम क्या बनना चाहते? सबको सिविल सर्विसेज करनी है, तब भी यही करनी थी, आईसीएस। क्या करोगे यार? आईसीएस। तू क्या करेगा? आईसीएस। सारे इकट्ठे होकर बैठ गए पढ़ने लंदन में, लाइब्रेरी में, सब नोट्स बना रहे हैं, धड़ाधड़ पढ़ रहे हैं, सब एक दूसरे के मॉक टेस्ट कर रहे हैं, फिर पेपर हुआ, सारे फेल हो गए। कहते हैं ये ब्रिटिश, दे विल नेवर लेट द इंडियंस बिकम आईसीएस। डिस्क्रिमिनेशन करते हैं। पता कैसे बातें? तो क्या करते, इतना पढ़े थे, सीसेट क्लियर नहीं हुआ, इंग्लिश इतनी टफ डाल देते हैं, सब रोते रोते अपने घर वापस आ गए। जो पंजाब से गया था पंजाब आ गया, जो मद्रास से गया था मद्रास पहुंच गया, जो बंगाल से बंगाल पहुंच गया। अब सारे इंग्लैंड से आए हो, ग्रेजुएट, सिविल सर्विस एस्पिरेंट्स, यू हैव रेड पॉलिटी, यू नो एवरीथिंग। जैसे कि सुरेंद्र नाथ बनर्जी, आईसीएस एस्पिरेंट, बन भी गए थे, फिर भी जॉब नहीं करने दी, वो बंगाल आए थे, उन्होंने आके इंडियन एसोसिएशन इन कलकत्ता बना दी। कोई मद्रास से गए थे, बदरुद्दीन तायब जी, मद्रास एसोसिएशन बना दी। कोई पंजाब से गया था, पंजाब एसोसिएशन बना दी। पुराने दोस्त हो, कभी कभी व्हाट्सएप पे मैसेज भी कर लोगे, कभी स्नैपचैट पे स्ट्रीक भी भेज दोगे, आई मेड बंगाल प्रेसिडेंसी एसोसिएशन, नीचे लाइक्स आ रहे हैं भाई, ओ हो, कमेंट्स आ रहे हैं, OMG बंगाल, आई विल मेक इन पंजाब, लॉल, है ना, चल थम्स अप, हार्ट्स बन रहे हैं नीचे, पता नहीं क्या ही चली जा रहा है, एवरीबॉडी सो हैप्पी। फिर एक दिन प्लान हुआ, फोन आया, लेट्स हैव अ रीयूनियन। उस दिन कांग्रेस बन गई, सारे इंडिया से लीडर इकट्ठे हो गए ना उस दिन, सबको बॉम्बे बुलाया हुआ था, कहते आ जाओ, सब आ गए थे। कहते क्या खिलाओगे? कहते वाओ पड़ा बड़ा पाओ, आ जाओ। सब पहुंच के, अच्छा मिर्च नाल दोगे ना बड़ी वाली? कहते हाँ आ जाओ आ जाओ। फिर वो कहते हैं एक सेशन उन फिर लाहौर रख लो या अम्बरसर रख लो, छोले भटूरे भी खा लांगे। ऐसे डिफरेंट एरिया में कुछ खाना होता है, डिफरेंट एरिया चले जाते थे। महाराष्ट्र चले गए, वड़ा खाया है, राइट, सब ने आज मद्रास सेशन रख लो, सांभर डोसा खावांगे। So they were roaming all over India. You know why? To understand the diversity of India, to know each and every region and its culture, to understand the people and to unite these people for a common cause. अब ये बनी कांग्रेस। आती है समझना? सिंपल एक्सप्लेनेशन है ना। ब्रिटिश कहते हैं ना, कांग्रेस भी हमने बनाई थी, वी आर द मेकर्स ऑफ कांग्रेस। कैसे और क्यों बनाई? There is one man who is given the name of being father of Congress, and that gentleman is A.O. Hume। स्कॉटिश है, और स्कॉटिश है ना, ये आयरिश तो नहीं है, हाँ स्कॉटिश है, और ये एक ICS ऑफिसर था। ये बोलता है कि it so happened sir that in 1857 when the revolt happened, we British were not knowing that we are doing something good and Indians are feeling bad about it, so they suddenly revolted, and I was quite surprised with this. So I decided that I will inform the next governor when I got retired. It is Lord Dufferin। Duffer आ गया होगा, इससे मैं बात करता हूँ, right? I will tell the Duffer that what is happening in India. He said, sir, it so seems that India is like a pressure cooker, right? In this cooker there is something fishy. Indians खिचड़ी बना रहे हैं कुछ, they are conspiring, and there is constant fire because they think that British are constantly exploiting them. So the fire is burning, something is simmering, and there is a lid on the cooker. Cooker पे ढक्कन लगा हुआ है, because there is no vent, escape तो है ही नहीं है, there is lot of steam inside. Because there is so much of the steam, there is a possibility of a blast. किसी दिन भी कुकर फट जाएगा, means दोबारा रिवोल्ट हो जाएगा. Before this happen, let's put that whistle. सीटी लगाते हैं कुकर के ऊपर, जब स्टीम थोड़ी ज़्यादा होगी सीटी बच जाएगी, दैट मीन्स एक कांग्रेस बनाते हैं सीटी। जब कभी ब्रिटिश के खिलाफ इंडिया में गुस्सा होगा, पीपल विल बी नॉट हैप्पी विद ब्रिटिश पॉलिसीज, दे विल कम ऑन अ पब्लिक प्लेटफॉर्म एंड रेज एंटी ब्रिटिश स्लोगन्स। हमें पता लग जाएगा इंडिया में लोग दुखी हैं, वी विल अमेंड आवर पॉलिसीज। राइट. सो दे कॉल इट कांग्रेस वाज अ सेफ्टी वॉल्व. हमने बनाई थी ताकि हमें फीडबैक मिलता रहे. एंड द एनिमीज ऑफ कांग्रेस एट दैट टाइम दे सेड सी, हमें तो पहले ही पता था कांग्रेस है ही गद्दार. ठीक है. सो ब्रिटिश ट्राई टू प्रूव दैट दे क्रिएटेड इट. वन ऑफ द राइटर्स हिस्टोरियन सेड नो, AO Hume is not the father of Congress. AO Hume was the midwife at the time of the birth of the Congress. गोरी दाई बुलाई थी उन्होंने बच्चा ठीक पैदा करने के लिए, ताकि अंग्रेज गुस्सा ना कर जाए कि तुमने कैसे बच्चा पैदा कर दिया हमसे बिना पूछे. तो गोरी दाई माँ बुलाई, midwife was trained, तो बच्चा ठीक पैदा हो गया. Now 3 stages of Congress and the end of lecture for the day. देखो, आज कांग्रेस पैदा हुई 1885. क्या चाहते हो, बच्चा पैदा होते क्या ही कर दे, तूफान मचा दे, आज ही वो डंडे जाके आ जाए बाहर. फॉर द स्मॉल चाइल्ड यू नीड टू बी लिटिल प्रोटेक्टिव एज वेल ना. सो कांग्रेस बन गई मॉडरेट, थोड़ी अंग्रेजों की प्रेज करती है. दे अप्रिशिएट द ब्रिटिश. यू आर ग्रेट, वी आर सो ब्लेस्ड दैट यू आर हेयर, you gave us new ideas, you made the Congress, we are so happy, we are so thankful, please do little bit of change in India, a little bit of reforms, political reforms. These are the moderates. 1885 to 1905, right? How many years? 20 years. Now you are 20 years old. पुसू, सोपू, NSUI, ABVP, SOI, सब बना देना तुमने. अब तो क्लेश मचा देना. फ्रीडम इज माई बर्थ राइट एंड आई शैल हैव इट. एक्सट्रीमिस्ट लड़ पड़े. अब तो तुम बाहर आके चक लो रिवॉल्वर, रखना के कब्जा लाना है. अब तो तुम्हारी फीलिंग ही बदल गई. अंग्रेज भी घुराए, कहते क्या हो गया इनको, कल तक तो ठीक थे, कल तक तो प्लीज 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 कर रहे थे, आज अचानक ही ओए अतमादी सटकली तिलक आगे बोल रहे हैं स्वराज इज माई बर्थ राइट एंड आई विल हैव इट. ब्रिटिश भी कह रहे, कहते क्या हो गया इनको, ठीक थे यार कल तक तो. लाला लाजपत कह रहे हैं चौड़े चक दूंगा ਵੀਰੇ, देख लै है ना, टिवरी टैट तेरी कर देनी है, छड़ दे पंजाब. सब तरफ अचानक ही हल्ला मच गया. And these people, they are writing so provocative writings in their newspapers, be it Tilak, be it Lala Lajpat Rai. They wrote so provocative. लोगों ने हथियार उठा के गोलियां मारनी शुरू कर दी. Political assassination start हो गई इंडिया में. Revolutionary trends आ गए. British are on the back foot, but they are the administrators, they are the rulers. उन्होंने एक्ट पास कर दिए टाडा जैसे कि उठा लो फिर जो करता कुछ. Start killing innocents. There will be no space for any revolt against us in India. Now Congress is 35 प्लस. 1920 आ गए. जब तुम इतनी एज में शादीशुदी होती है ना, तुम्हारे अंदर का गुस्सा खत्म हो जाता है, तुम्हें समझ आता है कि लाइफ कंप्रोमाइज है. ठीक है, साइलेंट रह के ही बेटर रहता है. तो गांधी कम्स एट द एज व्हेन कांग्रेस इज ऑलरेडी 35. यानी कहते लड़ना नहीं है, आराम से नॉन वायलेंट मैं बात करता हूँ, तुम रहने दो, तुमसे नहीं होगा. एंड गांधी जी हैड अ वेरी फेयर, आई एम जस्ट किडिंग, गांधी हैड अ वेरी फेयर ऑब्जेक्शन टू इट. ही सेड भाई मेरी बात सुनो, ये बताओ राज बिहारी बोस ने किसको मारना था. कहते हेडिंग को. दिल्ली कॉन्स्पिरेसी केस, चांदनी चौक बॉम्ब केस, कौन मरा. कहते पता नहीं, हेडिंग नहीं मरा. अच्छा फिर प्रफुल्ल चक्की ने किसको मारना था. कहते प्रफुल्ल चक्की ने किंग्सफोर्ड को मारना था. किसको मारा. कहते मिसिस कैनेडी को मार दिया. कहते भाई जब तुमसे बंदे ठीक मरते नहीं है तो मारते क्यों हो. फिर हम नॉन वायलेंट ही हो जाते हैं. तुम बंदा ही नहीं पहचानते हो, जो सामने आता है उसको मार के भाग जाते हो. ये कैसा तरीका हुआ तुम्हारा. ना ना ना, ये नहीं करना. सो गांधी जी सेड कि चलो फिर हम नॉन वायलेंटली लड़ते हैं. And you know the best thing about Mahatma Gandhi's method is the collateral damage is too less. If everybody will try to be Bhagat Singh, the British will kill everyone. If you will not, be patient and non-violent, then there will be repetition of Jallianwala Baghs. So Gandhi ji said, I have to take responsibility for a lot of people of this country who trust in me and my methods. If I will allow violence, then British will turn more violent. And then who will be responsible for the collateral damage if innocent people will die? So Gandhi said there are two ways. एक भगत सिंह का रास्ता है. If you are courageous enough, you think you can continue with that method, you must do it. But if you realize that there are better ways of doing the things in a non-violent and peaceful manner, you can choose my path. But if you think that being a satyagrahi, being non-violent is making you a coward, then please choose violence. Because I do not want cowards to become satyagrahis. Those who will follow my path of satyagraha, they will be beaten by the British, but they will not retaliate. You have to bear with the pain, because if you will retaliate, British will go for vengeance. They will kill many innocents. So even if they slap you once, be ready for the second slap. Don't retaliate, otherwise they will kill many people. So if you have that much of courage and that much of fearlessness in you, then only become my soldier, a satyagrahi. And then Gandhi added the most beautiful thing to India as a nation. He said, what you fear all about when there are British, those who rule India. The people said, they have the power, they have the police, they have the army, they can send us to prison, they can kill us. And they said, let's do one thing, let's go for jail yatra. जेल भरो आंदोलन करते हैं. डर लगता है ना जेल जाने, चलो सारे जेल ही चलते हैं आज, देखते हैं क्या होता है. Let's go there, right? The way Gandhi made India treat the British, very soon Gandhi ensured one thing, India became fearless. एक दिन गांधी ने कहा नमक का कानून तोड़ दो, पूरे देश ने तोड़ दिया. Everyone came out in the open and broke the salt law. सरकार को कोई मान नहीं रहा कि सरकार भी है, कुछ कानून टूट रहे हैं. आज तुम में हिम्मत है कानून तोड़ने की? किसी में हिम्मत है तो बताओ. गांधी मेड इंडिया सो फियरलेस कि ये इनलेजिटिमेट गवर्नमेंट है यार, इसकी बात थोड़ा माननी है. गांधी ने स्टेटमेंट पता क्या दिया था बिफोर ही लॉन्च डांडी मार्च? ही सेड इट इज क्राइम अगेंस्ट द मैन एंड गॉड टू नाउ अडहियर टू ब्रिटिश. उनकी बात मानना तो क्राइम है. कानून तोड़ दो, उनके डरना नहीं है अब किसी ने भी. ज्यादा ज्यादा करेंगे, मारेंगे, मार देंगे, पूरा देश थोड़ा मार देंगे. एंड ही फोर्स ब्रिटिश बाय डूइंग दिस. वो ब्रिटिश जो तुम्हें इक्वली नहीं मानते थे, दे ट्रीटेड यू एज इनह्यूमन और अनसिविलाइज्ड. उन्होंने तुम्हें लंदन बुलाया राउंड टेबल पे, बैठो बताओ क्या चाहते हैं. सिट एज इक्वल्स विद अस एंड टेल अस व्हाट यू वांट. और जो तुमने मांगा 31, 32 में राउंड टेबल में, बेसिस दैट 35 का एक्ट पास हो गया. और वो एक्ट ऐसा पास हुआ, द वे इट वाज पास्ड, इट बिकेम द बेसिस फॉर योर मॉडर्न डे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. दैट मीन्स ऑल योर डिमांड्स वर फुलफिल्ड मोर और लेस. So non-violently, if you can get something, why to turn violent for it? और वैसे भी जो गुजरात से होते हैं ना, जैसे गांधी जी हो गए और बाकी लोग जो भी गुजरात से होते हैं, वो नॉन वायलेंट ही होते हैं, वो पीस लविंग होते हैं. उनको शौक ही नहीं होता लड़ाई झगड़े का, फालतू में क्लेश मचाने का. नॉन वायलेंट, पीसफुल, मन की बात की, आराम से लोगों से अपना हो गए काम पूरे. फालतू में लड़ना झगड़ना उनको अच्छा नहीं लगता होता. ये गुजरात की एक खासियत है. इसीलिए गुजरात में ही तो जैनिज्म सबसे ज्यादा पॉपुलर हुआ था, नॉन वायलेंस. जेठा भाई को देखा कभी लड़ते हुए दया भाभी के साथ? लड़ते नहीं गुजरात वाले हैं. बबीता जी के साथ लड़ता वो कभी? फिर लड़ते नहीं है. पोपटलाल को कभी कभी गुस्सा आता है थोड़ा सा, पर फिर वो भी ठीक हो जाता है. गुजरात में तो जो सिख रहता है, टोनी का पापा, गुस्सा उसको भी नहीं आता, सब ठीक है. हाथी अंकल को भी गुस्सा नहीं आता. तो गुजरात इज वन सच पीसफुल नॉन वायलेंट स्टेट. पीपल आर सो नाइस. That's why we are proud of गुजरात. तभी तो अमिताभ बच्चन भी बोलते हैं कभी तो पधारो गुजरात में, कुछ दिन तो गुजारो गुजरात में. इट्स अ वंडरफुल स्टेट. डन. सो गांधी जी एंड गुजरात एंड लिज्जत पापड़, एवरीथिंग इज अमेजिंग अबाउट गुजरात. डन. तो अब कल मिलते हैं, एक एक चैप्टर शुरू करते हैं. मॉडर्न इंडिया की सीक्वेंस समझ आ गया ना अब इवेंट्स का? चलो, टेक केयर एवरीवन, गॉड ब्लेस यू, सी यू टुमारो 5 PM. In case of doubt, now you can ask me. Thank you everyone. So in case there is no doubt, you can leave the session and see you guys tomorrow. Yes, Divya, I will do it. Divakar, I will do it. Okay? Yes, sedition law भी उन्होंने बनाया था. चलो बाकी डाउट्स मैं फिर कल क्लास के साथ साथ ले लूंगा. डन. ओके, बाय बाय एवरीवन. हाँ जी बेटा बोलो.
तो बात